If you've never opened Excel because you were too poor and then all of a sudden too rich, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. And just to be clear, our opener here is the quote of the day, and it comes from Alex Karp of Palantir, who said that. That gave me a good laugh. Anyway, folks, we are back here for another Monday. Today is going to be Monday, September 15th. And I know we're waiting for the FOMC meeting, but the Monday started off with some news here. We've got an NVIDIA probe. We've got Elon Musk buying a ton of shares for Tesla. We've got news to break down. We've got things to do today. And of course, we have a market to trade. Benzinga's pre-market playbook, the Monday edition, kicking off the week. The Monday edition for September 15th starts right now. I think. Okay, I can't play the intro. Producer, do you know why I can't play the intro? Could you play it for me? Cannot play video clip. Okay, guess we're not doing an intro here. Thank you, Restream, for not being able to do the video clip. I'm going to go ahead and welcome everybody and watch what's going to happen. It's going to play while I'm in the middle of talking to you. I just have a feeling that that's the case. We start off with technology problems here on a Monday as well. But that's okay. EKS, good morning. You are first. EKS is first here. Congratulations, EKS. Hopefully you had a great weekend here. Fun fact, EKS is going to start us off with a fun fact here today. America's housing market gained $20 trillion in 5 years. Asset inflation. Yeah, and one of the biggest assets. Most homeowners' home is, in fact, their biggest asset. What do we got going on here, producer? Uh-oh. Is that the chat not working? Is everything not working here? Video clip playback? Man, I'll tell you what. This might be a fun day, guys. Restream, guys and gals, excuse me. Restream not cooperating with us. Nonetheless, EKS is first. Good morning, EKS. Welcome back. Corey, good morning. Welcome back. Brian, couldn't find this. Got a little scared for a sec. No reason to be scared. We're always going to be here. And in fact, if you ever can't find it, remember, you can always go to youtube.com/@Benzinga, and it will always be listed under the page. Even if something is broken, Restream obviously struggling here today. Maybe it didn't have its coffee this morning. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Shanlu Trading, good morning. Welcome back. Chuck, welcome back. Neville, it's good to see you as always. Zach McCracken, likewise, good as always. Ethan, nice to see you. Welcome back. Fairchild, where the hell you been, bro? Good to see you. Welcome back. Hoot, good morning. Welcome back. Producer's locked in. Producer, you are going to be working overtime today with Restream not working, I suspect. Don't leave that seat. Make sure your coffee's filled. D, good morning. A good week starts soon. A good week has already started. It starts right now. We're ready to go. Empyrean, good to see you again, as always. Big Bees, welcome back. Sorry about your Steelers, Big Bees. Believe me, as a Bears fan, I can relate to you. LOL. Javon, good morning. Welcome back. Cad Monkey, good morning. JJ, it's great to see you as always, boss. JJ, how are the scanner setups working that we talked about? Haven't heard back from you. I assume that's a good thing. But you know what happens when you assume. Let me know. Cam, good morning. HSDT is on the movers list. We're going to talk about it. Jane, it's good to see you again, as always. Keith, good morning. The crown should be on your head. Welcome back. Dirkus, welcome back. Get to the chopper, welcome. Cam, welcome. Dara, welcome. Just hum it. Just hum the intro. Oh, that would be funny. Okay, Jeffrey, good morning. Lion, welcome back. Good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Candace, good morning. Zoo, Ryan, and Johnny, good morning. Ed, good morning. Ethan, we already said good morning, but good morning again. Tanya, good morning. Kevin, good morning. Whis, good morning. Mark, good morning. Michelle, good morning. Michelle wants to take a look at Zim. That actually wasn't on my list. Let me go ahead and take a look at that. Let's see what else we got here. I lost my place there. Sorry about that. Lambo Rolls, good morning. Welcome back. Richard Judge, good morning. Welcome back. Zabeth, good morning. Welcome back. Rooster's locked in. Hans Yolo, one of my favorite YouTube handles, probably of all time. Welcome back. Barry the Goat, welcome back. Knowledge Drop, welcome back. Just passing through, it's good to see you again. Austin, good morning. Good to see you as always. And Cam says, good evening. Cam, you must be in a place where it's evening. Maybe you're in Australia or something like that. Let us know. But good to have you here wherever you join us from. Ari Stock Market, good morning. All right, producer, let's give it a shot. Let's try the Stock Market Today segment. Okay. I guess the video assets are not working here today. I'm just going to go ahead and go into it. We just, I guess, won't have a segment here today. Let me start first with Benzinga Pro and make sure it's shared here. It's not. Boy, we have all types of restream issues here today. Okay, starting with the morning report here, S&P futures actually up here this morning, up by 0.25%. Dow's up 0.22%, and the NASDAQ is up 0.17%. As mentioned, this is on the back of some news for really both directions here today. We've got an NVIDIA probe that we're going to talk about pretty soon. That sent NVIDIA down in the pre-market. And then we have Elon Musk on September 12th buying a whole bunch of shares. That sent Tesla screaming here in the pre-market. So we have both of those two things kind of offsetting the market here. But the net of that is that we've got green across the board on the futures. No big economic events here today, but on Tuesday, we do expect retail sales and import prices. On Wednesday, we expect, obviously, the FOMC. That's going to be the big item here this week. And then on Thursday, we have the jobless claims. We do have Dave & Buster's reporting earnings this week, as well as Lennar and Darden. That, to me, is going to be interesting. The home builders, let's see what they have to say and what that does for some of our other home builder stocks or stocks that are tied to real estate. Those have been on a huge move recently. Also, MLCI here, Mount Logan Capital. This is your only IPO here today. Don't have much on it. In fact, don't even have a pricing range on it. But that's going to go here today. And then as far as the initiations here, we did get a neutral from Seaport on CoreWeave. We'll see what that does. We also got a neutral from Seaport on NBIS. But Rosenblatt went to a buy on Ionic, IONQ. We saw some of those quantum names move last week. Looks like Rosenblatt here getting a buy rating and a $70 target on Ionic. Let's see if there was anything else. I don't think so here. I don't think there was really any. Yeah, nothing really else here huge to cover. So let's go ahead and dive right into the market here. All right, we're just going to start right at the top here. Ahead of the Federal Reserve key vote on interest rates this week, the Justice Department has made a fresh attempt to stay a lower court injunction blocking President Trump from firing Fed Governor Lisa Cook. There's more information coming out on that. I'll be honest with you, though, with the back and forth here, I'm not sure that really does anything for the market. We really haven't seen it yet. We'll keep you abreast on everything that's going on there, but unsure that this is really going to have a whole lot of market impact. The investors will eye a key decision by the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates on Wednesday in the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee meeting, begins on Tuesday. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.07%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.56%, so those actually doing pretty well here. Now, industrials, healthcare, and materials stocks recorded the biggest losses on Friday, leading most sectors of the S&P 500 to a negative close. Consumer discretionary and utility stocks, however, bucked the overall market trend and closed higher. This divergence led to U.S. stocks settling mixed. Now, despite Friday's divergence, all three major U.S. equity benchmarks gained last week, with the S&P 500 notching its best weekly performance since August, and the Dow adding around 1%. I know we spent a lot of time here talking about the September seasonality. So far, it hasn't showed yet. Now, seasonality can generally be delayed by 1 to 2 weeks. But so far seems to be bucking the trend. And if you recall, I was saying that, man, I'm waiting for that. But at the same time, it sure feels like everybody is also waiting for that. And you know what happens when everybody's waiting for something. The market tends to do the opposite. And it looks like that's what's happened so far here. Adobe posted better than expected third quarter results and raised its fiscal 2025 outlook, while IBEX, ticker IBEX, jumped over 36% on Friday after its upbeat financial report and guidance. On the economic front, the University of Michigan consumer sentiment declined 55.4 in September from 58 in August, and compared to its market estimate of 58. Now, some insights here. Despite a backdrop of market gains, individual investors are growing increasingly pessimistic, with bearish sentiment reaching its highest levels since early May. According to the latest American Association of Individual Investors, that's the AAII sentiment survey, bearish views on the stock market's 6-month outlook surged to 49.5% for the week. This marks a significant jump from the previous week's 43.4 and represents a peak negative sentiment not seen in 4 months. Now, Mark Petrino checks in on this pretty much every week that we have him on. It'd be very interesting to see where we're at on Friday after the Federal Reserve meeting takes place here this week. We'll see what kind of change we have on that. This growing sense of unease comes even as major equity benchmarks have recently posted gains. The S&P 500, for instance, recorded its best weekly performance since August just last week. However, bullish sentiment has been on a steady decline since early July, with only 28% of investors now expressing a positive outlook, a figure well below its historical average. Adam Turnquist, chief technical strategist for LPL Financial, notes that this divergence between price action and sentiment is significant. Quote, despite a string of record highs over last week, the latest AAII sentiment survey reveals a growing sense of pessimism among individual investors, end quote. Turnquist suggested several factors could be fueling this wall of worry, something else Mark Petrino has talked about, including the well-documented weak seasonality of September, growing concerns over labor market conditions, and the potential impact of tariffs on inflation, and uncertainty surrounding next week's or this week's Federal Reserve policy meeting. While sentiment often follows price, this recent deviation suggests a different dynamic. Quote, the bull market does not appear ready to die on euphoria anytime soon, end quote. Turnquist concludes, highlighting that the prevailing caution among investors could paradoxically provide a floor for markets as it continues to climb. Isn't it funny how that all works out? As the Federal Reserve prepares for its first interest rate cut of 2025 this Wednesday, market analysis from Apollo Global Management, highlighted by the Kobesi letter, raises concerns of a potential repeat of 1970s style inflation. This is what the naysayers have been saying all year, really since April. And we're coming down to the point where the rubber meets the road here pretty soon. The Fed is expected to justify the rate cut by citing weakening labor market. However, Apollo's research points to a troubling parallel between the current core CPI trends and the inflationary patterns of the 1970s and early 1980s. A chart shared by both firms illustrates how inflation during that period experienced a double peak after an initial surge and a subsequent decline. Inflation roared back to a much higher second peak. I'll go ahead and throw this article here in the chat for any of you. We talk about the Kobesi letter all of the time. And if any of you need a direct link to that thread, which there's a lot of charts and information in it, there you go. Story is in the chat. You go ahead and go after that. The current data shows inflation is in a similar trough, to the one seen between the two 1970s peaks. This has fueled debate over whether the Fed's pivot to rate cuts is premature. Boy, easy for me to say. Critics worry that easing monetary policy could now reignite price pressures, risking a second, more severe inflation mountain and repeating the policy errors of a bygone era. So we will see where this checks out here. Now, I did want to, before we move on to the next story here, let's actually take a look at the S&P 500 chart. You can see we were looking at Tesla here today. Don't worry, folks. We're going to get back to this Tesla chart. I know several of you are probably already trading this. And if you're not already trading it, you're probably going to be trading it here pretty soon. Okay. Here's where the SPY is. So I've got an intraday high from Friday at 659.11. And here we are in the pre-market at 659, pretty much right here. So we are right beneath the all-time high. This is what it looks like. So really quick, I did actually carry a little bit of a SPY put hedge trade into this week. This is a very short-term trade. Those puts expire on Friday this week, and I'll show you exactly why and what I'm looking for here at the open. You can see that on Friday, as we drifted higher to the 659.11 high that we just talked about, we actually sold off pretty aggressively. This, to me, I was actually watching this because I was around my terminal on Friday, and this, to me, it felt like there was a little bit of skittishness going into the weekend. SPY ended up popping back and then again selling to the intraday lows there from the close. So I actually took some of the 650 puts that expired this week for the SPY. The thought here was just a hedge. If this ends up not working, it doesn't work, that's fine. We're levered long, so that's probably the better of the two scenarios. But just watching some of the trading action there on Friday, right ahead of the close, I decided, you know what, this might be a weekend where we should protect some of that. Now, when the market opened here in the pre-market, we immediately traded up. You can see that we've actually drifted up to that intraday high from Friday. So if we open right here, this is definitely going to be one of the key levels. Do we stay beneath that intraday high? Do we peak above and then maybe make a wick on the chart? That to me would signal that we might not be out of the woods here for today. And as we've seen several of these days, market sometimes just sells off right out of the open. So we'll make an adjustment there. There we go. We're actually going through that high here in the pre-market. We'll see what happens when we open here. Again, with this being a hedge, it's okay if it ends up going to zero, given what we have on the long side. But this is what it looks like with your SPY chart. We'll see how that opening print actually does. Now, let's take a look at NVIDIA before we talk about the NVIDIA story here today. All right, here's a look at what NVIDIA's price action is doing. I kind of already floated. There's an antitrust probe going on. And when the pre-market opened here, NVIDIA went right to the 173 low, bounced, retested that area, and has held it. So to its credit here, it's held 173. That's absolutely going to make a key level here for today for trading this. We were closed at right about what 177.82 was our closing price from Friday. So the red green line also going to be a key level here today. Let's go ahead and break down what's going on here. Shares of NVIDIA fell 2.43% on Monday in the pre-market after China's market regulator extended an anti-monopoly probe into the U.S. chipmaker following preliminary findings that suggested possible violations. The preliminary investigation into the Jensen Huang-led company has unveiled violations of China's anti-monopoly law. The ongoing investigation is centered around NVIDIA's acquisition of Israeli chip company designer Mellanox Technologies. The Beijing authorities allege that the California-based firm violated the terms of market regulators' 2020 conditional approval of the deal. This news emerges amid the ongoing trade talks between the U.S. and China in Madrid. I don't know if you folks believe in coincidences. I, of course, do not, but the timing here seems just a tad suspicious. The investigation into NVIDIA comes on the heels of China initiating two probes against the U.S. semiconductor sector, including an anti-dumping investigation. This move could potentially impact the ongoing trade discussions between the two nations. Furthermore, NVIDIA's popularity in China is under threat as Beijing pushes for homegrown AI. Wei Xiaojun, hope I got that right, a professor at Tsinghua University, urged the company to develop domestic chips for artificial intelligence, warning against dependence on U.S. general-purpose graphics and processing units. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? They want to onshore some of this stuff, for national security. Go figure. The extension of the anti-monopoly investigation into NVIDIA, coupled with China's push for domestic AI chips, could potentially reshape the dynamics of the semiconductor industry in that region. This reminds me of Saruman from Lord of the Rings in that little clip where he says, "So they've chose death." Just my 2 cents on it. Despite this, NVIDIA has significantly outpaced the Mag 7 group since late 2020, achieving a relative performance increase of over 475%. This is driven by multiple catalysts. While peers such as Apple and Tesla have fallen behind, we've covered that at great lengths here. NVIDIA stock has surged more than 28% year to date in 2025, marking it the top performing Mag 7 stock this year as investors flock to AI enablers. How's it going to finish this year? Is NVIDIA going to finish strong here? Might we have a little bit of weakness here? More immediately, does the dip get bought in NVIDIA here today? It started so far. Let's see if we actually close or can move back to that red-green line. If we do, this actually could make a pretty sweet day trade here today, either on stock or on option, frankly. On options, excuse me. Okay, the next big piece of news, of course, is about Tesla, and we're going to do the same thing we just did with NVIDIA. We're going to start with the chart here. Here's what it looked like inside. So number one, On Friday, Tesla had a monster day. We traded it here, we covered it here, and it really just kind of held the rest of the day on Friday. The big move came in the morning, but it held all day long, closed at the highs. Now, in the pre-market here today, we traded up on volume. This is on the news that Elon Musk filed a Form 4 and actually bought some of those shares. Let's take a look at it. Shares of Tesla climbed over 6.57%, easy for me to say, during the pre-market trading session on Monday after CEO Elon Musk purchased a massive number of shares. Musk, through the Elon Musk Revocable Trust, bought 2.57 million shares of Tesla on Friday. That day that we just saw that thing trade up like crazy. Yeah. Well, Elon Musk bought 2.57 million shares. The shares were acquired at prices ranging from approximately $371 to $396 per share. And that's per the Form 4 filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission that got released this morning. This brings his indirect ownership to approximately 413 million shares. The filing lists multiple transactions, such as 22,537 shares at $371.90, 133,198 shares at $386.61, and 332,908 shares at $393. So Elon bought a majority of this at the highs. These purchases have boosted the trust's holding by more than 2.5 million shares total, worth nearly $1 billion at the reported prices. The recent surge in Tesla's stock price follows a series of positive developments for the company. Wedbush's Dan Ives predicted that Tesla's AI and robotaxi business could be worth at least $1 trillion, marking a significant milestone in the company's growth story. Additionally, Gary Black identifies the proposed removal of safety monitors from Tesla's robotaxis, which would allow the company to scale up thousands of vehicles, as the main catalyst for the company's stock amid proposed regulatory ease. Ross Gerber has warned that the surge in value may be temporary, however, as the EV giant's sales figures surpass analyst estimates, predicting a potential downturn after a couple of weeks. And by the way, here, I know I don't cover this for every stock here, but here's a look at the Benzinga rankings that we have for Tesla. We've talked about this on a number of presentations with Tim Melvin. Tim Melvin has used his very tried and tested methods of developing numerical scores, and we've adopted that through Benzinga Edge and Benzinga Pro. So these scores that we reference all of the time, a lot of thought has gone into them. Tesla's score is really good on momentum. That should surprise absolutely nobody, but also really good on growth and pretty good on quality there. Value a little bit questionable, but these rankings scannable in Pro if you're interested, and visible in Edge for all of the stocks that you want to take a look at here. So really interesting. I'd love to hear from the group. What is the move here on Tesla? Do we fade the move here today for a potential day trade? Do we think we might have a gap and go situation? Maybe we'll chart out the pre-market level and see if Tesla breaks out or breaks down from that range and back test it. That might give us a pretty tactical entry there on Tesla. But big mover here, big volume this morning on news that the market absolutely loves. Let's see where it goes here today. Curious on how you folks want to actually play this here today. All right, next story here. Steve Eisman says we are not yet in a bubble amid the hot IPO market. Investor Steve Eisman, he's best known for calling out the 2008 subprime debt crisis, weighed in on whether today's market resembles a bubble as IPO surge and retail enthusiasm fuels big price swings here. On Saturday, Eisman discussed the recent frenzy in a new listing on his podcast. The Real Eisman Playbook, addressing the rally behind stocks such as CoreWeave and Figma and Atco Ltd, which we didn't really take a look at here. Ticker there is ACLLF. Quote, does this mean we're entering a bubble? I think not, he says. People can get carried away, but valuations correct quickly. Now, this is interesting because we've talked a lot about this being potentially frothy, maybe blow off top like, bubbly, all of that, overbought, the whole 9 yards. But saying here that valuations can very quickly correct here. We might not be in that bubble there. This is important. I want to bring both sides of this because One of the other things that we've discussed a lot on Happy Hour is that even if there is bubble type action and a bunch of euphoria, the reality is that this can go on for a long time. And if that's the case, we want to make sure that we're trading it accordingly, right? We don't want to miss out on a huge run if there's still a huge run left. Eisman highlighted the shift in investor perceptions over the past decade, saying, quote, 10 years ago, the attitude was prove to me that you're the next big thing. Now it's you're the next big thing until proven otherwise, end quote. He added that retail investors, amplified by social media, are often the ones driving the early momentum in IPO names, citing the example of Atco, which he says has displayed the kind of whiplash trading associated with meme stock manias. Quote, valuations are all over the map, end quote, pointing out the challenge of assessing companies with limited or no earnings. But unlike a true bubble where froth persists for long stretches, many newly listed stocks have corrected swiftly over the initial run-ups. Eisman concluded by cautioning viewers against calling the current cycle a bubble, saying, quote, I think not yet, end quote, while adding that he himself looks at every new IPO that hits the market. We're going to keep doing that here. We're going to keep looking at IPOs that hit the market. We've actually seen, I'm happy that we've actually seen some really not do well. If they all looked like Circle, if they all looked like CoreWeave, I'd be a little bit more suspicious of, frothy, bubbly top. But remember, we had Voyager that was quite poor. We had Figma, which was highly awaited and not all that great. So we're going to keep looking at all these IPOs. If you folks have a favorite IPO or one that you're either waiting for or really looking forward to trade, I definitely want to hear that and hear why that is the case. Over a week ago, Eisman similarly dismissed fears of a housing market crash on his podcast, saying that, quote, people just love to predict the end of the world, end quote. Having successfully predicted the 2008 crisis, he said he sees no signs of something similar brewing in 2025. This is a really key topic here. First of all, I think he's absolutely right. People love to predict the end of the world. That is spot on here. We saw a lot of that in April. Okay, saw a lot of people in April saying this is going to be the end. This is going to be the end. And guess what? The sun has kept coming up here. Be very careful of people that predict the end of the world. It's different from predicting down moves, but absolute catastrophe, everything ending, this, that, and the other thing. I bring Tim Melvin on here to talk about that all the time. He's got a lot of stories that are similar in vein that have gone back decades. It's not just a new thing. It's not specific to where we are now. This is just how it works. And then the other thing here is I agree with them. The stuff that was going on in 2008, there were a lot of concerning things going on, and I just don't think that lines up with 2025. Even if you think that housing is extremely overvalued and a lot of housing prices need to come in, I think that can still happen without a, quote, market crash. And if we start getting interest rate cuts and we start have housing prices coming in, I think you're actually going to see mortgage origination and house buying accelerate. Not just collapse to nothing. Just my 2 cents. We'll see. But it sounds like Eisman thinking something similar here. There are, however, others who continue to warn of a growing bubble in markets, such as David Rosenberg of Rosenberg Research. Quote, we are in a gigantic price bubble that is ongoing, and you know it's a price bubble when prices move up in the face of negative fundamentals, end quote. He said that referring to the jobs revision report last week, which saw 910,000 jobs disappear. I actually think that number was 911,000. Similarly, technology analyst Beth Kindig is now warning of a bubble forming in the AI software space. Quote, AI software is really in the research and development stage, end quote. She goes on to say, that's where I think the bubble is primarily at, the software layer. What do you folks think? Do you think there is a bubble in AI? To me, I think even if that's the case, even if Beth is correct here, I still think there's more time for this to go on. And I think that if we get other IPOs like Anthropic and Databricks, some of these major players that are tied to AI, I think you're going to see some more continuation there. I just don't think Even if this is correct, even if the prediction is correct about a bubble, I don't think we're in that stage where we really have to start worrying about it. I don't necessarily think it's going to be come crashing back in. Jared here saying Rosenberg has been warning us for the past 10 years. And again, this is one of the things that I want to highlight here. Bears are loud. Okay, bears are loud, and people that call for the end of the world and the end of the market, they can be even louder. And I just don't think that's where we're at. I just don't think that's where we're at. Okay, let's keep rolling on the news. How are we doing on time? We are doing, hopefully 13 woke up early. I don't know if he did, but hopefully he did, because we're going to be doing the movers by ourselves without him if he hasn't. Next piece of news here. This is the Winklevoss. They were actually the Winklevoss twins, excuse me. They were actually on CNBC late last week. By the way, while we've been talking here, market has continued to tick up across the board. SPY put in fresh pre-market highs along with the NASDAQ. And while it's pulled off those highs right around the double top that we took a look at, still some underlying strength here in the pre-market. Shares of Gemini Space Station. You guys ready for this? Gemini Space Station, ticker GEMI, Golf, Echo, Mary, India, surged 32.2% during the first day of trading on Friday, bringing the cryptocurrencies exchange total value to $4.4 billion and signaling a renewed interest from investors in digital assets. Okay, first thing here, I was joking with the producer before we went on here this morning. Gemini Space Station. Don't get it twisted, folks. This is a cryptocurrency exchange. I know here on the show we talk a lot about space plays, AI plays, and crypto plays pretty regularly. I am guilty of mixing things up. Didn't I call QS QuantumScape a quantum play a couple of weeks ago? It's a battery play, for crying out loud. So let's be careful here. Ticker GEMI is actually going to be a cryptocurrency play. Be interesting to see how this thing trades with the volatility of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, by the way, down 1.8% here and actually on the morning lows. Interesting to see how this thing trades here today. Nonetheless, the company share debuted at $37.01, significantly higher than the initial public offering price of $28. Gemini raised $425 million by selling around 15.2 million shares. That's according to Reuters. The initial price range for the offering was set at 24 to 26 per share, but was raised due to higher investor demand. Gemini's debut marks the conclusion of a strong week for cryptocurrency companies in the U.S. IPO market, excuse me. Blockchain lender Figure Technology, that's ticker FIGR, Frank India Golf Romeo, also had a standout performance on Thursday following the impressive debut of the cryptocurrency exchange Bullish Global, whose shares more than doubled last month. Quote, Gemini has chosen the perfect time to capitalize on the favorable environment. That comes from Jacob Zuller, analyst at Third Bridge, citing recent regulatory shifts from the pro-crypto Trump administration. The Winklevoss brothers here, according to report, Cameron and Tyler now own around 75 million shares of Bullish Global after its IPO, which are worth about $2.78 billion, according to the SEC filings. Despite a recent net loss of $282.5 million in the first quarter, up from $41.4 million year over year, institutional adoption continues driving trading volumes. NASDAQ, ticker NDAQ, $50 million strategic investment earlier this week has boosted investor confidence. Gemini joins Coinbase, Bullish, and Robinhood Markets as publicly listed digital asset exchanges serving U.S. investors. So let me ask you, for those of you that were bullish on Hood, are you interested in Gemini? And if not, what would it take to get interested in Gemini? If you want, we can go take a look at the chart, although there's really not a whole lot to take a look at yet. This is what it looks like, right? So we had a nice little IPO there. It traded up initially, came all the way back down, and was totally weak the rest of the day. Here we are, still near like that impulse low. Let me know if any of you have a trade plan here on ticker GEMI. I do expect this to get looked at here today. Honestly, though, no indication on what this stock's going to do here today. So let me know. Let me know what you think. This might be a trade here today. Okay, and then last here, we're going to talk about one of our favorite movers. I'm going to call this one of our favorite movers from the summer. It was brought to us, or at least the initial thesis, which originated outside of our community, was brought to us by Jay Rice, and we've been following it ever since. It's been memey, it's been profitable, and it's been volatile. And we've got some more here on open. You can actually see from Wednesday. Wednesday was kind of a weak day. We actually had a pretty nice session there on Thursday. Traded up in the after hours. Pretty flat in the pre-market. Huge day on Thursday, and then kind of backed off, but didn't break down on Friday. Now we're slightly higher here today, but do we have the 1075 $11 area in our sights for an upside trade? There should still be a lot of trading volume on this name. Let's see if Open gives us a shot here today. Could Open be the Amazon of housing? Well, Eric Jackson thinks so. Again, this is where the thesis here on Open originated. You might as well be familiar with what's going on there if we're going to trade it today. Jackson shared his optimistic vision for Opendoor with Phil Rosen at the Independent Investor Summit on Friday. Quote, the management question has been resolved now, end quote. He pointed to major leadership changes that took place this week as one pillar of the bullish thesis for the stock. He goes on to say, quote, how could you not be bullish when they just did this huge management change, when they brought in Kaz, who's the former COO of Shopify and the CEO of Open? Keith Raboy, who we talked about last week, Eric Wu, co-founders of the company, have come back onto the board of directors. So he seems like he is extremely bullish on some of the management shakeups that we covered late last week. Jackson sees Opendoor's business model as able to lower the cost and simplify the experience of buying and selling a home in the same way that Amazon revolutionized retail. Quote, this is a stock that could be the Amazon of housing, end quote. Now, right off the top there, I don't think that buying homes is really ever going to be akin to online shopping that we do at Amazon. But nonetheless, I see where he's going with this. If it makes the process more efficient, more streamlined, and we get the combination of interest rates coming down, maybe we do see homeownership tick up, especially amidst some of the younger demographics. I think it's probably too early to make that prediction one way or another, but this is definitely something perhaps serious that we can watch while looking at this kind of meme volatile stock here. He also went as far as to project that Opendoor could dominate the housing market first in the United States and then expand internationally. That would definitely be good for the stock. Unsure I'm really on that same page yet. Rosen then asked Jackson to present his potential bear case for Opendoor. Jackson said that an unlikely scenario where interest rates remain higher for longer is the biggest threat for Opendoor. He also pointed to Raboy's cost-cutting mindset that could potentially place Opendoor in a, quote, risky transition period, end quote, when the company would have to adjust to a much smaller workforce. This is where AI comes in, though, right? If AI actually does help this, maybe that's not necessarily a negative and could actually be a positive for the stock price. Just throwing it out there. The final bear case Jackson presented was future profitability growth concerns. He posed a question of how many companies would move from its first EBITDA positive quarter in 3 years to a model that is sustainably profitable. Jackson didn't present a solution to the final bear case. Perhaps this is something the new management team will focus on as they assume the reins at Opendoor. So you folks tell me, you think there's another trade here in Opendoor? JL here says, what would the return policy be? If Opendoor becomes the Amazon of housing, what's the return policy on that? And you got 30 days to return that house that you just bought? Yeah, that's a good question there. Nonetheless, though, we'll see where the stock goes here today. I am expecting quite a bit of action here today. Okay. Good morning to anyone that I missed there. Mama Bear's locked in. Knights Lance, JL, good morning. Lion here says, I'm thinking the market is pricing in the rate cut in this last run, but after the rate cut, we might as well sell the news. We may see a sell the news and the market go south. Lion, this is not a new comment. This is actually something that we've been on for weeks now, literally weeks now. This is the camp that I'm in. I do think we probably see a sell the news as the market has really gotten ahead of itself, pricing in. Really, since Powell tipped his hand at Jackson Hole, the market has been pricing in at least one rate cut. Really, the question has been now, is the market pricing in more than one rate cut? Is it pricing in a 50 bips cut? Is it pricing in multiple? A lot of things to figure out there, Lion, but I do think that a potential sell the news event could be lined up here for this week. And again, we'll see what happens when we get that data. Let's see if I missed anything here. Michelle, appreciate this. I don't think we are in a bubble, but I do think that when rates get dropped, it won't ignite spending. I think people will use the opportunity to refinance their loans as a cover your ass move. Michelle, I completely agree with you. I don't know that we're necessarily going to see a tick up in spending. I do, however, think that any type of cut that makes its way through to the housing market is likely going to increase the amount of mortgage originations and housing purchases. I have to think that's the case. I derive that opinion from some of the experts that I talk to that are actually in the real estate field on a regular basis. Several of those folks are on happy hour, so this is something that we discuss all of the time. Really, we're just going to have to see how it goes. Let me know if you have a trade put on for that, or if you're looking for a trade for that. Keep going through some of the questions here. Ethan is asking, is Benzinga a broker or charting? Ethan, it's neither. We are definitely not a broker. In order to trade, you will need a brokerage account, and Benzinga does not do that. Our platform here, well, although I'm showing you charting, the backbone of our platform and the lifeblood of our company is in fact news. This is our Bloomberg-like terminal designed for retail traders. So instead of charging you $2,500 a month, we have a much exponentially lower price designed to give you real-time news, scanners, charts, audio squawks, and more so that you can navigate your way through the trading day. The charting that you see here happens to be a licensed version of TradingView. So if you're familiar with TradingView, you already know how to use some of the charting here in Pro. But at its core, Pro is about news. It is a trader terminal designed to help you get information faster and make better decisions. It's not going to tell you what to buy and sell. It's instead going to inform you so that you can make more informed decisions. Good question, though. Let's see. What else do we have here? I think we see rotation after the rate cut rather than a total sell-off. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm at too, Jared. Well, I do think we see some selling. I don't think it's going to be this big pullback here that people are waiting for. I know there's a lot of people rooting against the United States right now, or more specifically, this particular administration. But I don't think that's what we're going to see here. I think you're going to continue to see rotation. And as I've been saying for months now, if we continue to see rotation out of big cap megatech into some of the smaller cap names, that should be good for everybody. Moves like we're seeing here in Ondas, although that has its own catalyst in there. If we're going to see small cap companies that are actually trying to make a difference start to get bid, that's going to be really good for some of those bigger wealth moves. Okay. RS says, why do we need your news when at Thinkorswim you can get real-time news for free? Well, first of all, read that news a little bit closer. You'll realize that what Thinkorswim does is they actually license their news from us, LOL. But on top of that, you don't have any type of filtering ability. You really just show the news that they show you. It's not as complete as ours. And again, they buy it from us. They license it from us. So it's not, while it is real time, it's not quite as fast there. Perhaps you don't use news as often. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? Did I miss anything in here? James is saying with Powell, I think we're lucky to get one. I think you mean a rate cut. You think we're lucky to get one rate cut? And I would imagine then that you also think that rate cut's going to be a 25 bips cut instead of a 50. I'm just kind of reading through the lines there. You let me know if I read there correctly or if I misplayed that here. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead. Let's see, it's 8:45. I'm just going to go ahead and start with some of the mover news here. If you want to take a look at some other, you know what? Someone mentioned Zim earlier. Ryan mentioned Bull. Maybe I'll start with those. Let me see if there were any other ones that I missed. We'll come back to some of these. We should have plenty of time as well to take a look at some of these. LAES, that's going to be on the movers list, so I'm sure we'll cover that. StubHub IPO, that's coming this week, right? They're going to price tomorrow. Does it price today and trade tomorrow, or does it price tomorrow and trade on Wednesday? we'll take a look at that for StubHub there. Glue's on the movers list. No problem there. Neville wants to take a look at Lyft. Okay, let me start with these here real quick. We're going to start here with Zim. I actually haven't taken a look at this here today. Zim having a nice pre-market. I see why this is being mentioned here today. So Zim from about 13.5 to just shy of 15 here in the pre-market. Zim Integrated Shipping Services general corporate statement. They issue a cash dividend. Okay, so withholding tax procedures on the cash dividend here. Okay, so reduced withholding tax on the upcoming dividend. So it looks like we have some dividend news here. Remember, Zim's dividend is a little bit different. It's based on their profits, so it changes all of the time. It's not like consistent one way or another. Today, though, pretty good news about that dividend without actually going through it here. Stock's up 8.23%. See if there are any dates on here. Hereby, this updates that the connection with the dividend distribution expected to take place on September 9th. That happened last week. Let's see, what other dates do we have in here? Company to be paid on September 9th. There is no guarantee the company will declare additional dividends for the future. That's kind of what we talked about. That they have like their own dividend structure there. Okay, so it looks like this dividend's already been paid out. There's just some other tax things that apply to this, and it looks like that's getting rewarded here by the market. Zim trading up. Let's see if it made anything on the daily chart here that's of note. Okay, so the only thing that I see here so far on the Zim chart, we did recapture the 20-day moving average with this. 20-day moving average has been great to tell us trend. Zim really hasn't had much of a trend. It's mostly just been sideways here. We are recapturing that. 1709, this would be really the only target I have from this. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure that this news is a chaseable piece of news here. We'll see what the volume ends up telling us throughout the rest of the session. Great that we got above the 20-day there. The 50-day is at 1532. That's our next spot, but that big one there is that 20-day moving average at 1709. I'd love to see a recapture of that. I would say if we do see a recapture of that, that actually might change the chart around here. Generally speaking, when we're above the 20-day, the trades have been a little bit better. Excuse me. When we're above the 200-day, the trades have been a little bit better to the long side. So that's kind of what we're going to watch here on Zim. PD Kate is asking, where do you see Tesla going from here? So here, let's actually do this. Since you're asking about this, let's actually do this. I will redraw this on the chart in the main workspace that we use for day trading. But here's what I'm looking at for Tesla. I want to know which direction it's going to go next. I don't suspect that it's just going to stay in the same area that it's in now. I suspect it's going to pick a direction. So what I'm going to do here, as far as like marking up this chart, let's get the horizontal line tool out. And I'm going to mark the bottom of this sideways area, that first consolidation area. I know it took another leg higher here, but until we know what the stock's going to do, I'm going to mark this area off. Values on this area I marked off roughly 417 to roughly 430.5. If we break out of this range to the upside, probably going to have a more of a run here today, I would guess. If it breaks out of the upside range and back tests 430.5 and then holds, that I think is our entry long trigger. Stop probably down here about 425, I would estimate, depending on how you're going to do that. If you're going to use options, maybe you'll have to adjust your stop loss a little bit differently. Conversely, if we break down from 417 here today, we'll probably look at maybe even filling this gap down to 395. Again, I don't know what's going to happen here today, but this is how we'll set up for it. If we break down from this 417 range, back test it, and then start to roll over again, that is your short entry trigger for this trade. So again, I want to let the stock tell me what direction it wants to go from where it's at right now. I'll observe this range. We'll see if we get a break on that. That's how I'm going to approach Tesla here today. Obviously, when the market opens, we'll take a look at some of the unusual option flow. Maybe that will give us a key indicator of what's going on. Volume flow should also do the same thing. So we'll see. They're really good stuff there on Tesla. Okay, looks like one of you made the alarm clock go off for 13. Let's see how he's doing here today. 13, happy Monday, my man. How are you doing?
I'm Doing pretty good. How are you this morning? How's everybody in chat? We ready to trade?
I'll tell you what, everyone in chat seems like they're in good shape. I don't think I've seen a single complaint here today, which for a Monday, I mean, I'll absolutely take that. But 13, you should be well aware. I don't know if you caught this earlier, probably not, but you should be well aware that it would not be a week around here if we didn't have technical challenges. So when we started the show, we couldn't get any of our video assets to play, nor could we get the chat to come up initially. Let me see if hang on. Okay, the chat thing works. Hang on, let me try something else here. Nope, video assets still don't work. So we're still dealing with some technology troubles here today, 13, but like we normally do, we're kicking butt anyway. How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Just kind of looking around here. I didn't have a whole lot of, I had plenty of time, but I was really hung up on looking at some of these movers this morning, trying to figure out where some of these could go. We can get into those right now if you want.
Mm-hmm. You know what? But you just reminded me, because I told you folks about setting up a new workspace here. By the way, whoever was asking the question about the inferior thinkorswim news, here's an example of what you can do with the pro news that you cannot possibly do in thinkorswim. I had told you folks that one of the things I had set up recently, just because of what we've seen in the news flow, is a news feed that only gives us news for stocks that have some type of crypto treasury strategy here. So I consulted this morning when I sat down and I said, oh, take a look at this. GPUS. Hyperscale launches $100 million Bitcoin treasury strategy as part of its ongoing transformation into a pure play. Okay, cool. Well, let's actually take a look at GPUS. Let's go back to the chart here. Here's your chart for GPUS in the pre-market. So we've talked a lot about how some of these are really kind of crappy, and it looks like GPUS is going to kind of fit that. So if you weren't in for that initial push here, does look like so far it's holding 70 cents. This is back into penny territory. I can't tell you how many times we're going to talk about this today. It might be none if it continues to break down. But just right off the top here, before we cover some of these other stocks, 13, GPUS, Bitcoin Treasury PR here this morning, popped the stock just shy of 2, already bled back about 80% of its gains, and so far now it's trading sideways here. If for any of you, or if any of you want some of the other stats on this, just because we normally cover that, here you go. Let me actually see if I can make this easier. Percent of float shorted here, 3.4%. 1 day to cover. It comes on an average volume of, let me scroll down here, average volume of 4.5 million. Today we've traded 100 million, floats 27 million. So 13, I don't even know if you want to cover this, probably not even worth it, but I just wanted to follow up on something that we created as a group last week.
Well, there is some insider buying here, but it's probably meaningless because of how small, or how small the price is for the stock. So I don't know if that's really carrying any weight, but yeah, I didn't really look at this one. Maybe it's something we can take.
It's no problem. I don't think that you needed to. One of the other stocks that was caught by this filtered news here is going to be HSDT. I'm assuming you looked at that one.
Yeah.
That's going to be second on the movers list. So let me move over to the movers list now. We're going to start first here with check, and then we will go to HSDT, and from there we will pick our next direction. Check here. This stock was a penny stock on Friday. They reported some news Friday in the after hours that popped it, and lo and behold, we're getting another move here today. This actually did move up to about 440 and came back off. So far, we are holding VWAP. We are actually considerably above VWAP. We're actually holding the 9 EMA at the moment. Here's what the news was. On Friday, after hours here, CheckCap entered into an agreement and a planned merger with Embody AI. The combined company, so it's not a buyout. This is why the stock is still trading here today. The combined company will be renamed Embody AI. The combined company will continue to hold CheckCap's legacy assets, consisting primarily of patents and proprietary medical equipment. So here's your piece of news. Stock is up 346% here today. A quick look around the horn before 13 breaks it down like a fraction. 0.5% of the float is shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume here of 496,000 shares, so just about 500,000. Today we've traded 74 million, and the float here, a very, very tradable 5 million shares. So 13, what do you think here on ticker CHEK?
So you have this Israeli company merging with this Nevada company here, and one of the things I was getting hung up on was trying to figure out some values here so I could get an idea of where this could go. I realized after a while that I was just kind of wasting my time. So you just have to know that these two companies are merging. It looks like the holders of they're going to be issuing shares. The holders of the M-body shares are going to be getting 90%, and the check cap shareholders will be getting 10%. So this is an merger that's expected to occur in 2025, this quarter, or it may not happen until next year. So that's what they have here with this. Even the financials weren't really that robust in their data. So companies are, this check cap company loses money every year, no surprise. But I didn't I wasn't really able to look that much into M-body given the time that I had. So
yeah,
as far as levels go for CHEK, we are currently trying to recapture the VWAP. You might have it a little bit different on yours.
I have it a lot lower.
Okay, so then let's go with that. I don't know where you have yours, but it's
288.
Oh wow, that's really low. So
yep.
Okay, so that's a little bit past the first impulse move that we got this morning. So anyway, if we can hold above that, great. We need to look towards the upside. We have 345 as a resistance area. We just backed off of that. After that, there's the 365 area and 375. Both are resistance areas. Then you have the site level of 4 and the market pre-market high of 442. So those would be the different levels I'll be looking for on the way up. That's going to provide resistance.
Okay, really good stuff there. CHEK. We'll see if this gives us a trade. Honestly, just kind of looking at the chart I don't want to make an early call here, 13, because the market's not open yet. But just kind of looking at this chart formation here, if this trades sideways and doesn't break out of this formation and flashes a curl, a move up to 4, I think, is totally possible. And if it really builds some strength, maybe we do challenge those highs from the pre-market. Again, not a guarantee that we're going to do that, but one of the things I'm watching on this name.
Yep, watch for that volume. Doesn't look like we're getting much of an expansion right now, but let's just wait and see what we end up getting towards the open. There may also be a bit of a trend line here that you could even draw. I don't know.
I think you're talking about from the top right down through this, right? I debated doing that, and when you didn't mention it, I was like, but let's see. I like it.
Yeah, so let's see if we can get a break of this trend line and hold above it. Maybe even back test it, and we should be off after that. But
okay,
not there yet.
Okay, sick. Next here, HSDT. This is one of the other big movers here, caught by the Treasury strategy filtered newsfeed that we just talked about. This is Helios Medical Tech here. This stock was about $8 on the close on Friday, and not a typo here. Actually traded above 50 earlier today. Now it's come back in quite a bit. So right away here, we're literally cut in half. Since the $50 high here this morning. So just know what this thing can do. Know that this is going to be extremely risky. Determine early whether or not this fits your trading plan. And please make sure you have your risk well defined ahead of taking a trade if you do, in fact, trade this here today. Let's take a look at the news on this. In partnership with Pantera Capital, and Summer Capital announces over $500 million in funding to launch a SOL Treasury strategy. So it launches a $1.25 billion SOL-backed Treasury strategy with an oversubscribed PIPE offering at $688 per share and $10.13 for the warrants. So that those PIPE investors in there at $686. This stock is currently $25. Just know that. Taking a look at the short interest here on this name, it had 1.42% going into this, 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 351,000 shares. Today we've traded just shy of 14 million. The float here, right in our wheelhouse, 1.07 million. So what do you think here on ticker HSDT? We
traded this one back in June. They were doing a reverse split, or they had done a reverse split. They've done 2 this year now. A 1 for 15 and a 1 for 50. So that's why we had the float down close to $1 million.
Yep.
This thing is really taken off from its bottoming out here. So the areas that I see for resistance at this stage are going to be up in the 30s, although we are kind of still coming back in. I have 32 and 38 as the big resistance areas. It looks like we just fell underneath this $26 support area.
Yep.
So if that doesn't recapture soon, and we have the VWAP pretty close to that too, it looks like it could be curling here. So I think what you want to watch for is if the 65 EMA can hold up. Where do you have your VWAP, by the way?
I have the VWAP here at 25.31.
Okay, so that's we're already beneath it then.
We're already beneath it, but we're right there. It actually looks like you had just talked about a potential curl here. It looks like if it does curl here, this actually takes it through the VWAP. And I don't know about you, 13, but if I take out this big spike here, we actually have a pretty decent trend line that would make sense on a break on a curl. I don't know if you want to go with this though.
I think what I want to go with is not just the 65 EMA. It's looking like it's starting to curl already, according to the MACD. But we've already printed some lows here that we could also draw on, like this one from the 850 candle, which was 2162.
Yeah.
Let's if we start trading beneath that, I think we're going to be in some real trouble here with this one. So first thing I want to see is the 65 EMA hold up. That's I think is the most important thing right now.
I completely agree with you. And like we just kind of talked about on some of the bigger cap stocks like Tesla and NVDA, which are both moving in the pre-market on news here today. Yeah. One of the things that I want to see is, does Helios break out of this kind of sideways area that it's in? I understand we already had one pop that doubled the stock price. I totally get it. But now we're pretty much back into this range. And this looks to be pretty sticky. 26.5 down to 21.5. That area there, which direction do we end up breaking out of that area? That's my question here. We'll see which one we get today. All right. Next here is going to be, and I don't know what you covered here, so I'm just kind of going in the list. I know there was someone that brought up glue. Did you cover glue?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I took a look at this. So let me actually skip and go to glue, because this is actually one of the stocks of the day here today, as selected by Benzinga Pro. Selected by me and then piped through Benzinga Pro. Glue here, Monte Rosa Therapeutics. Monte Rosa's therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced a collaboration with Novartis to develop degraders for immune-mediated diseases. So that piece of news here, pretty awesome. The stock was just shy of $5 on Friday. We actually had a double off of this piece of news as the stock peaked above $9 earlier. Pared back some of those gains now. I have it right beneath VWAP by 15 cents. I've got your VWAP here, 745. Stock is currently at 730. Very much like what we saw in Helios. We want this to hold 7. If it stays between 7 and 8, okay, we'll see what happens. Maybe 7 and 775. You want to be a little bit tighter on that range. But let's see if maybe this curls. If it does curl, remember, we do have a target here in the 9s as a potential range that the stock can go to. Current look at the short interest, 17.67% of the float shorted. That has a 25 days to cover reading. Now, while it does have some high short interest, let's not get too carried away here. On average, the stock trades 408,000 shares a day. Today, we've traded 11.5 million. And the float here, 46.6 million. So not as small as some of these other ones. 13. I know you didn't have a lot of time to pre-cover glue, but looking at this, what do you think here on ticker GLUE?
It looks to me like we are coming up to a resistance area. It looks like 740 is a pretty big area to get over here. If you look at a daily chart, I'm just going to mark this off right here. So 740 is definitely a level to keep an eye on. There are some other resistance levels to the upside beyond that, but I think that's the earliest one we're going to want to pay attention to. Looks like 830 is another one to keep an eye on. So that's where I'm at with that one. The short interest, that could probably continue for a little bit. Didn't look at the cash. What's this company looking like here? So they lost 12 million last quarter. They seem to have some profitable quarters here and there. What is their annual? So looks like they've really turned things around in the past few years, but not really out of the money losing scheme. Yeah, I think I would just kind of go with the technicals. I'm not exactly sure how what I can discern from their business. That short interest, it looks like the most interesting piece of key data that they have.
Agreed. Agreed.
So I think I would just kind of keep an eye on those levels I mentioned, that 740 and that 830 as resistance. I think that's what I would do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that completely. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the list here. Were there any that you did cover that we haven't talked about yet that we should start with, 13?
No, let's go to what you want to look at.
Okay, I'm going to go to LRE next here. This is Lead Real Estate. This stock is up 72% here, or about $1.13 in the pre-market. Did have a new piece of PR here today. They announced a cash dividend, which is payable September 30th. So the board approves a cash dividend of 7 cents per ADR. This is an ADR, so 7 cents per share, if you will. Payable September 30th. Where was the date there for that one?
This is interesting.
Yeah, it sure is.
It does.
The dividend of 7 cents per share is subject to final approval by LRE shareholders to take place on September 29th. If it's approved, the distribution will be made on September 30th. No record of when you need to hold this, though. Let's see if I can find that out there. Doesn't directly say in the PR there.
It probably, you don't need to. It just is going to be one of those special dividends that happens right away.
So you just need to hold it on that September 29th and 30th day?
I'm thinking that you just need to be a voter. I don't know, to be honest, but it doesn't seem like there's any waiting period as long as you're a shareholder at the time of the vote. But I don't know if that's the case or not. There's obviously a lot of vagueness happening here with this PR.
Yeah, no question. But this is good though. This is why the stock's up 76%. Let me finish off here. Quick look around the short interest, 1.6%. Oops. Clicked the wrong thing there. Sorry about that. 1.6% with 1.38 days to cover. This thing's a ghost town. On average, it trades 52,000 shares a day. Today we traded 21.5 million, but the float right where we like it, 1.34 million on this one.
They operate hotels in Tokyo and they lease apartment building units to individual customers in Japan and Dallas, Texas. So that's kind of a interesting, distance between their two revenue generators. But it's interesting though, because we have been talking a lot about real estate and how multifamily homes are still going to be pretty lucrative. And that's what we've been talking about, right?
Indeed.
So maybe this kind of falls within that theme for multifamily homes. I don't know, kind of the spitballing here.
Yeah.
Obviously, the cash dividend is the more important aspect of why it's moving here today. But maybe this also continues to go with other real estate names.
Okay. Sorry, were you finished? I didn't mean to run you over there. That's really my fault.
Something to keep in mind. I didn't really have any levels for this one. I could kind of look real quick and see if there are. We're at 265 right now. So we're above all that. We're coming up to, oops, give me 1 second here. We're coming up to some resistance, it looks like, back from 2024, last year. It's like 268, right where we're at right now. So it could get rejected here, but there's even more resistance coming up at around 325. So might have a tough time moving up through these levels that we're at right now unless more volume picks up.
Okay, there we go. LRE. Now, the next one that I have here, it looks like some news is breaking literally while our show is on here. This is going to be ticker FRGT. This is Freight Technologies. This is definitely one that we've traded before and looked at frequently. Stock was just shy of $1.50 on Friday. Today, we traded above $3. Freight Technology shares are trading higher after the company expanded its partnership with Amazon Mexico by integrating FR8 Tech directly with Amazon's internal tracking system. So this actually seems like pretty decent, legit news, to be quite honest with you. As Zach is mentioning, indeed, volume here is following with this. So this seems pretty great. Short interest look on this, 0.73% of the float traded with 1 day to cover, comes on an average volume of 142,000 shares. Today we've traded just shy of 11 million and the float here is 2.7 million. So I guess the stock's already up about 100%. I guess the big $64,000 question here is, do we have more movement on FRGT or might we be looking for a pullback and load zone on this one? What do you think, 13?
Well, here's all the levels that I have, since this is one we have traded before, and I kept all those levels there. We've got 280 coming up here. That's going to be the next one. We've got 320 after that, 420 after that, and 550 after that. I've got levels that go all the way up to $9, even though we could start, marking off ones that go even higher into double digits. But let's just start with those.
And that was from May of this year, right?
That
those levels?
It was either from May or it was from March. It was probably from both, to be honest.
Okay, perfect. And actually, here is you're absolutely right. Here is that area in March. Okay, really good stuff, 13. Good stuff there on FRGT. I guess we can take a look at IHT. Before we do this, though, I want to cover another piece of news that's not on the movers list. At least I don't see it. If you took a look at Ondas here today, you realize that there was news in the Ondas news feed here, but it's actually about ticker LPTH, LightPath Technologies. And here's what LightPath is doing here today. Stock moved from about 550 last week up to about 640 here today. The news, private placement. LightPath enters agreement with Ondas Holdings and Unusual Machines for an $8 million private placement of LightPath Class A common shares. If you take a look at the PR here, the private placement consists of the sale of 1.6 million shares of common stock at a price of $5, in which Ondas and Unusual Machines will purchase $4 million worth of shares. Proceeds will be used for working capital to advance key LightPath commercialization initiatives for general corporate purposes. The offering is expected to close September 17th. Now, LightPath here, for those of you that forgot, LightPath is a manufacturer, distributor, and integrator of proprietary optical components it assembles. And assemblies, It also engages in the research and development for optical solutions for traditional optics markets and communication markets. So it seems to me like Ondas and Unusual Machines, two drone companies in the drone theme, are investing in this company. They're doing more than thinking. They're investing in this company probably for having better optical sensors put on the drones. That's where this all connects. The good news here for the ticker LPTH, Lima Papa Tango Hotel, by the way, is that this is non-dilutive. So they're actually getting $8 million here without the shares being diluted. Stock is trading higher on that. Quick look at the short interest on this. 1.58% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. On average, the stock trades over 500,000 shares at 579,000. Today, we've traded already 313,000. So I do think we're going to eclipse the average volume here. Float on this one, 36.13 million. So 13, I know this one wasn't on your list and you probably haven't had time to cover it, but is there anything here that is interesting to you?
They just had a big offering where they got like over 200 million. So it seems like it's a little bit of a drop in the bucket for ONDS, but it's advancing their the whole drone theme and making Ondas products better with the integration of those what is it? What was the company name?
LightPath.
Integrating those systems. So there still looks like there's more upside to be had here with ONDS, but I think the big resistance is that we're starting to approach is going to be up at 8. We've already moved through the one I was looking at 6. Initially we backed off before we started moving into it. So kind of would expect something similar to happen as we approach 8. If you look at the daily chart, you see how we've kind of run up, backed off, and then run up again, backed off, and now we're running up again. Could see this continue up to 8, and then we get another back off before we continue the run up. So that's kind of what I would be expecting here. But I don't know how much more we're going to go beyond 8. I think 8 is going to be a pretty big resistance area. So I still see the price potentially moving up to there, but I just don't know how quick it's going to happen.
Okay, really good stuff there. LPTH, Ondas. Joint news here. Yuval saying, I do not understand the invest strategy with tiny stocks with tiny market caps. Isn't it super risky? Well, sure. Smaller stocks with smaller market caps often have their own challenges. And sure, you're incorporating risk really in anything that you take. But two really important key takeaways here. Number one, you're talking about investment, and a lot of the times what we're talking about with some of these smaller stocks are trading, and those things are different. So right off the top here, Yuval, please understand that if we're talking about one of these smaller stocks here, we are not talking about it for the purpose of investment unless mentioned specifically. A lot of this is for trading, and we tell people don't necessarily be holding this especially if you don't have an investment thesis on that. So that's number one. But number two, the other thing of just about your comment here, isn't it super risky? Please understand that the stock market is going to be a balance of risk versus reward. And what happens when you have more risk associated with it? You guessed it, could also have some more reward. We'll cover everything here for the most part, but hope that clears it up for you. All right. Should we do IHT here? This is another one of the stocks that are moving. Let me actually. Oh, no, really? You've got to be kidding me.
IHT in Suites Hospitality Trust.
Let me try refreshing and see.
Okay, I'll look and see what this is about on my broker. Okay, so this is way higher. Actually, is this? No, it's not. I was going to say, is this a new all-time highs? But I just need to look to the left a little bit more. Looks to me like we are running into some highs back from 22 and 23, the years. So that kind of means that it looks like to me like 360 to 365 is going to be a bit of a resistance area here for IHT. Let me refresh as well since I don't have Pro giving me the information I'm looking for.
It's working out. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what happened. That might have just been on my end here. I don't think it was system wide. Anyway, here's IHT. Sorry, 13.
That's okay. So looking at the float, 5 million shares. Financials, they aren't profitable, but they don't really lose a whole lot either. They are going to have to do a capital raise, it looks like, at some point. So that's something to keep in mind. They look like they're going to have to raise some money. This is a REIT, so this is going to be affected by rate cuts. I don't know enough about this company here. It's hotels, trademark license services. So this is a hotel play. Doesn't look like it's really much of anything else. There's been some selling by insiders. I don't think it's significant. It could just be taxes or what have you.
This is one of those, like we just kind of talked about. This is nothing more than a trade at all. I'm not even sure this is going to make the list here, 13. On average, the stock trades less than 20,000 shares a day.
This might be better later this week once we get the rate decision, but I don't know about today.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I think I'd be careful with this one.
Okay, last one here that I wanted to mention real quick is going to be NAOV, Nanovibronics. This is one that we've taken a look at several times in the past. Nanovibronics shares are trading higher after its subsidiary, eNuv Medical, was granted a U.S. patent titled Insertion Device Positioning Guidance System and Method. Okay, stock popped as high as 1550 earlier, has backed off quite a bit. We're actually beneath the VWAP, but we're still holding higher here by 58+%. A quick look at the short interest, 1.91% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 173,000 shares. Today, so far in the pre-market, it's traded 11.2. Float here, this is the notable part. Float is a micro float. We are under 1 million shares on this name, 797,000 shares, just about for NAOV. So, what do you think here on Nanovibronics, 13?
Don't know exactly when we've traded this one. I think the reverse split kind of screwed up any levels that I had here. But
yeah, but I recognize I recognize that. I know we have. I can't pinpoint it either, but I know we have.
So we're past a couple of resistance areas that I see. The one that we're coming up to next is going to be the 65 EMA on the daily chart. That's going to be at 1050. We are currently at 1030 right now. So this is going to be the earliest resistance area that I see. If we can get above it, then the 1050 looks to be the next one after that, followed by 1320. There's going to be a big gap to fill if we can, if the price manages to get over 1685. That gap fills all the way up to 38. I don't know if we'll end up seeing that, but that's just something to keep in mind. First things first, we've got to get through this 65 EMA. But if we do, then we could potentially gap fill up to, well, you have the 200-day EMA that's also in the way before we gap fill. So that's even another target. But just one of the few levels that we may hit up on the way up if we are going to go into a gap fill. So we can get to over 1685. we'll start seeing a gap fill, and then we can look at the levels that I see as resistance on the way up.
Okay. The only other, I didn't have anything else on my list here for this morning. Happy to take a look at whatever you folks want, but I did see someone from the chat mentioned this. This is ticker EVTV. JL saying, with drone being a hot topic of late, what are your thoughts on EVTV at the open? Well, I'm actually not 100% sure what this is. This is Envirotech Vehicles. This is a provider of purpose-built zero-emission vehicles focused on reducing the total cost of vehicle ownership and helping fleet operators unlock benefits from green technology. So I'm not sure this is a direct drone play unless I'm, oh, excuse me. Yeah, nope, never mind. It unveils a U.S.-made heavy lift drone carrying 1,500 pounds for farming and wildfire defense. So let me just immediately answer your question without reading anything else into this. I am bullish on drones in a lot of different ways. I think, first of all, if you get drones to proliferate, and in this case, help farmers, right? This is farming and agriculture and wildfire defense. I think there's a lot of positive applications for this. I love the fact that we are getting more and more news about US-made drones as opposed to relying on some of the inferior ones from China. That's also really good news. That's sector-wide here. I think that you're going to get more pop, if you will, more oomph on some of these trades for drones that have to do with defense. That's just my own gut feeling, though. This, nonetheless, still pretty bullish and still pretty good. Stock's holding higher here by about 25%. Float on this stock, 3.13 million. On average, it trades under 130,000 shares. Today, we've traded 11 million. Quick look at the short interest on this one, 1.19%. So not a whole lot with 1 day to cover. So actually looks pretty good. 13, what do you think about the range here?
Sorry, I was just kind of looking this company up because they're local.
That's okay, because I want to highlight something here that thank you, Fairchild, for steel manning what I was just talking about. Fairchild said, been using my drone to pinpoint dry and wet disease areas of crops. Fairchild, let me ask you, just for context here, because I'm not a farmer and you have vastly more experience than I do. How much time is this saving you, and how superior is the drone method versus your previous method? That, to me, is the big key takeaway here. How helpful is this actually? Get in there, 13.
So the thing that interests me the most about this company is the weight capacity that can lift. This is
me too. 1,500 pounds is a shitload. Sorry for the language.
Now we're getting somewhere. This is when you start to see, helicopters' usefulness get called into question. Now I know that we're not close to replacing helicopters yet. But if you can get drones to be able to perform the same capabilities that helicopters can do, we're really onto something. I think, your folks. So this is interesting. I don't know how we can really play this yet, because it's still so new. But the applications they have for a drone being able to lift that kind of weight are massive. This is interesting to me too, because this is like less than an hour away from me where they manufacture these things. So I may have to make a field trip at some point.
Hey, we love boots on the ground DD field trips, 13.
But yeah, so this is an interesting one to watch for. Let me look at the chart here, see where this goes, because it doesn't look like it's going to really go much of anywhere today, unless it can turn around at about, I would say, maybe 450. Let's take a look here.
Really quickly, while you're taking a look, Fairchild, thank you for the direct answer. This is what I suspected, but wanted to confirm. The drone method is indispensable compared to my prior methods. Will never go back. So I just finished telling you that I think the military drone applications probably will provide more pop for the stocks. But if this is what you're telling me in your localized use case for this, I got to imagine that there are thousands of other farmers that feel the exact same way. To me, bullish.
I'll talk to my farmer friend and see if
please,
because they have fields and they use water lines and all that. So I'll ask him to see what he's doing with drones. EVTV, though, this is starting to lose the 65 EMA. The two areas of support that I see are going to be at 450 and 4. So if we aren't able to turn around at 450, I think 4 would be the last line before we can look the other way and let this thing die off. But $4 is where the 200 EMA is on the 5-minute. And 450 is a resistance area that we were kind of basing at this morning in the pre-market before you had the impulse move up. So I think those two areas would be the levels I'd be keeping an eye on for support. So if you lose 4, that thing's done, I think.
Okay. Really good stuff. Really nice plan there too. Really pretty kind of clear. It's easy for me to say. I'm anything but clear with that. But in any case, nice, clear trading plan there. Okay, we've got 6 minutes till we open here. Was there anything else that you wanted to take a look at? I didn't have anything else on this list. I will say honorable mention here, given the move that we're seeing here in Tesla, honorable mention to some of these ETFs that are levered especially to the bull side. But maybe if you think there's a fade, maybe playing the one that's levered to the short side might be in play. These are all popping here and on the list as well. Fairchild goes on to say, can't keep the farmers off me at our local events. Any not using drones already are extremely curious. So Fairchild, all of this stuff is absolute boots on the ground gold. This is exactly what we would have expected from the thesis that we have been talking about here. And although we've been focusing mainly on the military and defense aspect, you've uncovered another aspect here where there is very, very clearly going to be growth amongst this. And furthermore, I think as quality US-made drones proliferate, those companies are going to get all kinds of help from this administration to make sure that they are the ones that succeed. So this is all really, really good stuff.
If they can start making these agricultural drones to not only, like just monitor, but also to seed, water, and harvest, especially with the capacity of 1,500 pounds, John Deere could be in trouble. Not to the point where they're going to go out of business, but they're going to probably get a pretty big hit with the.
John Deere also might think, you know what? Instead of trying to play catch up here on drones, let's just buy some of this out and roll it up into our company.
Right.
That makes some of these drones possible takeover targets.
Right.
Really quick here, Alish, there's no reason to say we are open in 4 messages, especially being wrong. If you ever do this again, you will get ban-hammered into the next universe. Please don't do that again. Jay Rice, good morning. Welcome back. Anne-Marie, it's good to see you again as always. And Smoke Tuna is locked in the house. Let's go. All right. Anything else you want to take a look at?
On the topic we were just discussing, John Deere is already involved with drone technology, particularly because they bought Centra in May. That was an acquisition for aerial imagery and analytics. Not quite the extent that I'm talking about now, because the capacity of these drones is being 1,500 pounds is a kind of a new development, so we're not there yet. But John Deere is already involved with drones in the aspect that I was mentioning earlier about being able to monitor, environments and conditions. So we're getting there, and John Deere is involved with it. So let's see where this goes.
Okay. Awesome. Relly here. This also popping here. Looks like this wasn't moving when we first started discussing this. Reliance Global shares are trading higher after the company announced plans to purchase up to 120 million in cryptocurrencies as part of its treasury strategy. All right, so here's the impulse move here. Looks like it stopped right about 2. Maybe we're on the backside of this. If this volume flips over to selling volume, I think the next play there then is to just kind of wait this out for it to carve out a support level. But this is what's going on with Relly. Let's take a quick look around the horn on this and get you ready for it. 0.71% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Comes on an average volume of 1.4 million shares. Today it's traded 21.6 million. Float here is 4 million. Did you have any thoughts on Relly here?
Looks like it ran up to 2 before it backed off. If there's more upside to be had, I think I'd be looking at 245 as the next big resistance area. Looks like right now it's trying to back off after hitting 2. So let's see if it can hold its VWAP. I guess that'd be the first support area that I'd be looking at. I don't know if this is going to turn around here or not as we approach the open. But if this starts to trade higher than 2, that level at 245 is the next area of resistance I'd be looking at.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff here. We are almost at the open here, just under 2 minutes away. Is there anything else that you wanted to take a look at, 13, before we get ready for that? I'm just going to flip over to my main workspace and get ready for the open, frankly.
So I'm assuming you already covered Tesla?
Yeah, so the Tesla news here again, just to recap. By the way, tennis is life. We're all adults here, and if you behave like a child, saying "You're not calling on me, you're not calling on me," and stamping your feet, you will get timed out. This is the last warning, so please shape up here. As far as Tesla goes, we did have some news here. Elon Musk purchased an enormous amount of Tesla shares on Friday, and a majority of those shares, as outlined earlier. Here's the story for this, by the way, if you guys want to keep this. The story for this one, this actually outlines the different tranches that he bought, with the vast majority being bought at the highs here. So that's what's going on with Tesla here. It looks like 430.36 is your pre-market high here on Tesla today. As I mentioned earlier, let me actually share the tab here. As I mentioned earlier, what I'm going to be doing is this. Let me actually mark it off on this chart. Horizontal line tool, bottom end of the pre-market range. Horizontal line tool, top end of the pre-market range.
5 seconds.
Let's see which direction gets picked here. And if we back test it, better still, that should give us entry. All right, now we are open.
Yeah, Tesla running into 430. That's a resistance area, formerly support back in 2024. So not surprising to see that as where the price having a hard time getting through. I would kind of anticipate a little bit more pullback here, maybe even a gap fill back down to just under 400. The RSI on the daily chart for Tesla is really extended, but that's just kind of what I'm seeing. Let's look at some of these movers and see what we got going out here out of the gate. It looks like CHEK is trying to get going, trying to make a move over the trend line that we just drew earlier. If it doesn't get above that, it's probably going to come back down here to the 65 EMA. HSDT not doing a whole lot right now. That's also in the process of going under at 65 EMA. We did mention that at 21, I think it was 2165 that I had mentioned as a support area if we go beneath the 65 EMA. So if we can't get it there, then the 200 EMA is going to be the next support area. But this thing isn't looking that great right now. I'd prefer to see some turning around or even some more basing.
Okay. Some of these movers here not looking great.
Nope, not looking great out of the gate here.
FRGT, that's coming back in. R cells coming back in. Let me check Lightpath. That was the one that had the news tied to Ondas. Let's see what that's doing here. Okay, that actually popped a little bit and came back in. Not sure if there's a short-term trade on that, though. Ondas popped and pulled a little bit. That's still figuring it out. ATCH, Atlas Clear, this is above $1. We'll see if that keeps moving. EVTV, which is one of those that was asked about earlier, this still under a lot of its moving averages and substantially under the VWAP. SPY popped out of the gate.
Yeah,
closed the hedge that I had on that.
Yeah,
closed it for a 50% loss there.
RELI is halted down. Okay, so market's ripping right now. So I think could be looking at a potential SQQQ trade if we get extended enough. Right now, we're not really that extended at all, but starting to viciously go in one direction. So let's see how extended we can get.
Tesla pulled to the VWAP and then bounced a little bit here. Part of me wonders if this is slowing down after that bounce. Here we go. Let's see what happens if this comes back. I've got VWAP at 422, by the way. Let me see if my broker agrees with that. 422.23, 10 cents off. So we're basically in the same spot there. Tesla, that initial bounce above its VWAP here, doing its best to hold. We'll see if what we get here on Tesla.
Yeah, so we've got CHEK. Looks like HSDT is also halted. Both of those are halted, and we also have RELI halted as well. All halted to the downside. Looks like glue isn't sticking around with these lows. So
I like that, 13.
It's only a matter of time before I was going to do that. LRE, this is looking better. This actually just moved up to its VWAP, but couldn't break through it. Still has the volume, so we'll see if it can make another push to get above VWAP. If it does, looks to me like 325 is going to be a resistance area. You have the high of the pre-market at 385.
Which one was that? Sorry, LRE.
LRE. Yep.
Got it.
Yep. And looks like a lot of these other names are just kind of sinking. We can go over to some of these larger names that probably are performing a little bit better. Looks like we did get some weakness in Tesla. What's up?
Yeah. So what's interesting here, though, Tesla, a lot of action out of the gate. So we talked about that initial pullback here. I gave you the range that I was looking for, right? I want to see if it holds this range. One of the other things here, we didn't quite get the bottom test on that pullback there. But let's see if this goes back up to the top. I actually expect a pop above this, at least on the action that we're getting now. And there is a bunch of Tesla flow right from the open. That is to be expected given the move that we're seeing here in the pre-market. Let's see what we got here on Tesla. These are majority of calls. There's a little bit of puts in here, but gosh, I think there's only 2 or 3. This is all, for the most part, calls. And a lot of this stuff is short term. These are the things that expire this week. So it looks like some short-term trading going on here. Tesla, TSLA.
Open getting a mention here. That is up over $10 now. 10.20 is the high.
Open.
Yeah. Looks like 10.35 could be resistance. If not there, then maybe a little bit higher into the 10 handle, up around 10.65 to 10.80. Somebody was mentioning that BBAI was looking pretty. Yeah, I know. LDI also doing pretty well. LDI, that one. Come on.
Don't be fooled, folks. Binny is going. It's 8 cents. That's the former Mullen. We should all know better than that.
LDI, this thing trying to get support from its VWAP. Don't like this formation that it's put in the pre-market. It looks a little bit bearish, but so if this comes down and loses the 65 EMA, I'd be looking between 450 and 460 for support. We're not too far away from that.
Okay. All right, 13. I'm going to actually step away for a quick sec. I'll be right back.
Okay. And what else do we have going on here? So CHEK still halted. So is HSDT. Glue is trading lower, but it looks like it wants to try and turn around. It's not getting it yet. LRE couldn't get above VWAP. FRGT, that's open and going lower. IHT, this is a really slow moving name here, trying to turn around. NAOV, this is actually halted to the upside. Let's see what we end up getting out of that halt. What else are we looking at here? C4, says Investors Arena. CC. Oh, yeah, we did get a pop all the way up to, what is it, 307? It's like at 307. Now we're coming right back in. Let's see if there's any news on that. The only thing I see here is that C4 Therapeutics promising growth and competitive edge with Torpedo platform and strategic partnerships. This is a Tip Ranks article, so I don't see anything else that was moving on. There's news from last week, and earlier this month. But aside from that, I don't see anything that's really driving this movement that we're seeing this morning. A TikTok deal has finally been reached. I don't think it'll be a good one unless it includes the algorithm. We'll see. We'll see what they end up getting. So LRE will go, says Smoke Tuna. Are you looking at this? So there's a big seller at 270. Is this the point, right? When we get past 270, is that when it's take a blast off time? We still have the VWAP here at 291. So let's see if we can get through this seller at 270, because that seems like what needs to happen here in order to go higher. Looks like CHEK is open and lower down to the 65 EMA. That must mean that HSDT is going to open shortly afterwards. Relay is also open and lower. Looks like LDI still getting some support from the 65 EMA. Open door burst all the way up to 1050 and turned around. So we right up to that resistance area. Now what's going on here with LRV? Getting a little bit of more resistance with that VWAP. Got to lay on hands with the like. Yeah, hit that like button. Hit the like button while you're at it. Sure. Appreciate it. Amazon boom. Get it, Izzy. A resident Amazon trader. Looks like CHEK is trying to turn around here. Let's see if it can do so. And glue still going lower. HSDT still halted. It looks like Realize trying to find some support down here around 125. There he is.
There I am. All right. What
Oh,
are we looking at?
Izzy, we were looking at LRE. You were looking
Bring
at
it
that
up.
one. And Ryan,
Yeah.
don't look now, but LVLU, remember this one that I was talking about?
LVLU.
This is one of the ones from that list that we've generated with the Benzinga AI.
Yep. Oh my God. Nice job.
This might be getting some movement here. Looking for a break over that 581. So
shout out Benzinga AI early on here.
that's right. That is right. Well,
Tesla actually ended up rolling over a little bit, so that broke its VWAP and came back in. That's Tesla.
Jonathan, I wouldn't put it past you. It really does feel like it could. It really does feel like we could get a rug pull.
All right, here's what I'm looking at on Tesla. So far, we have tested the bottom end of that channel down there, 417.78.
CHEK now halted to the upside after getting support from the 65 EMA. So out of the halt, we'll want to see this at the very least, test VWAP, at the best, break over it. We have the TQQQ still climbing. The SQQQ still not extended away enough for us to have a really decent trade. Got to be at least a dollar away from VWAP. And right now, we're just a matter of 4 cents. So we need to see some real big downside to this to the broader market.
Several of you mentioning Google being strong here. This indeed has been strong. This was a great trade here recently. I actually left too much on the table here as we were trading on this move back up to the trend line. But they were short dated options nonetheless. Google continuing its breakout here. I think didn't we ask about this last week or the week before? Google or Apple? I think some of the vote majority was for Google. Pretty sure I'm remembering that correctly.
Izzy, you're saying RUM should boom at 11 a.m.?
Let's take a look at RUM, ticker RUM.
All right.
Why at 11 a.m.? I mean, it's already, what was the news here this morning in the pre-market on this? Board member Nancy Armstrong resigns. Did that really send it? No, that can't be. That's from September 8th. No, that's old.
Oh, there must be some other filing that. You tell me what's going on at 11.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the deal here at 11?
There might be some other filing that mentions what's going to be happening today. I don't know. But yeah, I don't see any news to go along with that. Looks like there is some pretty good short interest here in this. 18.5% with 9.85 days to cover. It's got short squeeze potential there.
Watching Tesla here, we are approaching. I've got this at the bottom end of the range here. I have at 417.78. Oh, okay. So Vance is going to be on Rumble, but is that going to pop the stock?
We have seen it with whenever the Trump name is associated. I don't know that JD Vance is going to do it, but it's just something to keep in mind that it might.
But that's a good. Sorry.
Oh, I'm done.
I was going to say that's a really good mention. At least you know that there is a catalyst happening here. Have the stock on watch if it trades or gives you movement. There you go. Thanks, Izzy.
Looks like HSDT is open, trading back up after making a new session low. Looks like the 65 EMA is going to be resistance now that it's lost it.
Okay.
Looks like NAOV. This is still pushing up. Looks like it wants to take out that VWAP.
Sure does. And LRE, which we talked about earlier here, this so far holding the bottom end of these candles here. I got to think that this, if it holds this area here, let's just call it 225-ish. If it holds that area, maybe you do have a possible move back to the VWAP at 284. Easy for me to say. By the way, Tesla calls continue to flow here despite Tesla pulling back.
And that one we were just looking at.
Here we go.
NAOV. That just traded slightly above its VWAP, came back in, still not breaking down, but need to see this thing push back beyond that VWAP here, or else could see reversal.
Okay, we're waiting to see if Tesla holds this area here. I've got 417.25 as your 65 EMA on the 5-minute, and I have 417.78 basically just eyeballed there as the bottom end of this range. Look like it's going to try and break this here. See if we get that.
HSDT still moving. Looks like it's trying to recapture that 65 EMA. Keep an eye on it if you're looking for something to trade.
Okay, Tesla now peaking below this level. If this comes back up to 418 and can't move above it, that to me, possible more downside here on Tesla.
Check.
Be very, very careful on this. My own trading plan is not to short the shares. If I did take a downside position, it would be using options. What was that, 13?
Check is open. There's a big seller in the way at 3. So there's your resistance if we're going to see some more upside here. Certainly, 3 has been the support area in the pre-market, and now we're facing it as resistance. So really important to get it back above 3.
Okay. Marcus, good morning. Good to see you again. Marcus is on Hood. Let me take a look at the Hood chart here. I mentioned it briefly, but haven't looked at it yet. Hood is climbing higher. Support is at 114.25. Resist is at 116.75. We're going there right now, and then 118.50. So, Marcus, that was a nice little dip there, right? Nice. You think we make a move towards this 120 and maybe some new highs here on Hood? If Hood can break 118.50, the next support is at 121.50. So you're looking for a $3 move in there if you can take that out. Okay, good stuff there. Marcus, on Hood, let us know. I actually haven't seen many Hood options yet either, by the way.
NAOV.
I'm seeing a lot of CoreWeave calls.
NAOV is still struggling to get over the VWAP here. It looks like it does want to go higher, but if this candle looks similar to the previous candle and then the next one also looks the same, then I think we might be running into some resistance is a little bit too strong for upside.
Okay. Okay. There we go. And by the way, on Hood there, real quick, I did just kind of identify a trend line here. Oops, sorry.
Open. Got some support from VWAP. This thing looks like it's about to go higher.
You think 1050 on open?
That's the level to break. It just got support from VWAP. It's got to get over to 1025, 1030. A lot of sellers in that direction. A lot of sellers.
Okay. Tesla holding the back end of this. I almost wonder if Tesla's going to have some more downside here, folks. Or do we trade back into that range? Decision point coming here on Tesla.
Just kind of looking for something here to.
Yeah, I don't see a great setup. Tuna likes NAOV. I'd actually rather see that get through the VWAP. Several folks are mentioning Wolf. I'll come back to Tesla here because I think that might actually be setting up.
O or U?
Sorry. Okay. WOLF. Good call on that.
Okay. So we are. Looks like to me resistance is going to be just past 3, like 310. We're not quite there yet, but that's the next area of resistance I'm looking at here. If we manage to get through that, there's some consolidation back from May that the price might have a time to chew through. And even if it does start to get through that, there's a 200 EMA on the daily chart at 504 that it's going to have to deal with. So,
okay, that's good stuff there on Wolf. I'm sorry I keep going back to it, but stuff is changing quickly here with Tesla. We did pop a little bit back to this area and we could not get above it. Now it looks like lower we go here. 415 handle now. TSLA looks like some more room to the downside. My next downside target on Tesla, if this does continue here, 405. 405. And I'll tell you what, this week's 405 calls $8 ask right now. Not terrible for trading. Tesla continuing to show some weakness here. Okay, that actually wasn't terrible. I'd like to see some more movement here.
So there's some movement in NBY that's being mentioned.
Okay.
The only thing that I see here is that they have a Form PRE 418. They're announcing their shareholder meeting. Looks like they're going to be doing a reverse split, or at least vote on one. This company also has some pretty high short interest, although it's only one day to cover. 35% of the float shorted. Yeah, I don't exactly know what's. Oh wait, this is the David Lazar one. I forgot. Remember the David Lazar one where they did the special dividend and all that?
Yep. And for 5 seconds, I confused it with Bob Lazar and was embarrassed. Yes, I do remember that.
So remember, this one has the special dividend that okay. So this is the one with the special dividend where it's 80 cents per share payable on September 29th to shareholders of record as of today, September 15th, and they can't sell that ahead of that payment date. So for the next 2 weeks, probably aren't going to see a lot of selling unless it gets too painful. So this might be pretty good for the next 2 weeks. Just something to keep in mind.
UNH reverse. That's a really good call, Izzy. We were talking about that maybe filling a gap. Looks like not yet here. I don't think it filled it yet, did it? 377 was that gap fill? Nope, not quite. We got pretty close though.
NAOV breaking over VWAP. Nice call.
Okay, that was a good one. That was Tuna was on that one. I think he said that one looks good.
1540 is the pre-market high.
Really good stuff here from our group early on. Good stuff there. LRE is at the loading zone, according to Tuna.
All right.
That's that 211.
And there was another one that was also.
Robert, good to see you. Sorry for interrupting you, 13. Robert, good morning. Good to see you. Welcome back, buddy.
Open having trouble with that 130 area where the seller is. Loan Depot, this thing is still sinking. Might get support from 450, 445.
NAOV. This was a great call right there at the VWAP Tuna that was down just shy of 12. Here we are above 13. Nice little move there.
It's about to halt.
Really good call. We're gonna early calls here. We'll take it.
Yep. Another great start to the week, folks.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're looking for LRE to turn around here.
Yeah, LRE did hold that 211 bottom there. It actually just took a big seller at 217, and it's chipping the one here at 218. LRE looks like this is trading back up here. I'm not sure. This is already 10 cents from that loading zone, so I'm not sure how far it's going to go, but so far, so good on that bounce. LRE. Sorry, I didn't have it on screen. It still had NAOV, which is halted.
It would be nice to get back to VWAP.
VWAP 281. That would be a big move.
That'd be, I mean, could get back there, get a rejection. I mean, that'd be a great trade as long as you know that you're probably going to have to exit just before the VWAP. That's the way you're going to play it. Maybe this thing goes higher.
Okay, that was another good call here. Here's Tesla trying to come back into the pre-market area that we have flagged here. Tesla.
Okay, so Fidelity does not permit LRE trading.
Okay, good to know. I haven't tried to buy LRE myself, so I'm not sure if that's a Schwab thing too.
SCHL may be worth an ER swing. This is Robert.
Scholastic. They have earnings in 3 days, September after the market closes. Okay. Robert, I'm guessing you're long this for earnings. This does look like a near-term breakout on the daily.
Is this one that you want to be in ahead of the rate decision? I know you're playing it for earnings, but earnings are after the rate decision. So I'm just kind of curious if you're taking that into account, or if it doesn't even matter. Let me know.
The last earnings, it did well for him. Marcus is on Chewy here. Chewy finally having a bounce back day. Oh, Marcus, look at this. Oh, off that spot. Now, here's my question, Marcus. What does your gut tell you? Is this does it hold this level, or is this just kind of like a dead cat bounce here off this level? No pun intended on the Chewy ticker. Let me know what you think there. Emery saying that's one of Tim's calls. Emery, which one? Sorry, I feel like we just talked about a whole bunch of stocks right there. Which one was one of Tim's calls? Scholastic, SCHL.
Okay, so Robert's going to be holding that SCHL small until until Wednesday when they announce that rate decision.
I'll tell you what, Chewy, this is a nice move here out of the gate. I'm just wondering if there's more to this move here.
Big move with Joby after hitting the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Now it is back near the pre-market highs. Large seller underway at 1490.
Lion has funding secured at 420 here. Tesla calls. Lion getting his 420 on here early via Tesla. Calls for next week. Short-term trade there. 420 calls for next week. Tesla's bouncing. Lion, that was good. Let's see if we trade to the top end of the range now. Here's what the Tesla chart looks like. Looks like our range was pretty good that we had flagged. Let's see if we move top end of the range. That actually wouldn't be that bad. 10 points on those calls that are in the money. That wouldn't be a bad day trade right there. Good stuff, Lion.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look and see if there's anything.
You can stuff your sorries in a sack, mister.
All right, I'll have to get a bigger bag.
I was going to say, that's a quote from Seinfeld there. My Seinfeld folks should appreciate that. LRE continuing to curl here. Tuna might have hooked another one.
Yeah, and HSDT still trading beneath its 65 EMA, but watch for volume expansion that takes it back over that and VWAP. They're not too far away from each other. If it starts trading over that, might be a good trade here that's starting to get going.
Rob Kennedy, he gets bonus points for today for liking the Seinfeld reference. You will always get bonus points, folks. Good stuff, Rob. Izzy mentioning Rumble ended up booming a little bit early. Izzy, good stuff putting that with a upcoming catalyst here. Really good observation there that, hey, maybe the stock is going to be in play. So far, so good. The stock has moved from 7 to 760 already in the pre-market to right now. Pretty decent buying volume too ahead of this.
Buy the rumor, sell the news, maybe.
Maybe. Nonetheless, though, we talked a lot last week about entry. Izzy here really, really good on the entry. Had that early. Instead of chasing this move higher, we talked about it before it was really making this move. That's really good stuff to see.
HSDT into an upside halt. Seems like they halted just above the 65 EMA. We'll see how much more of a lift it can get out of the halt.
This is my favorite. Buffalo by Bicycle says the jerk store called and they're running out of view. What's the point? You're their best seller. Oh God, that
NAOV.
show it's so good. NAOV, sorry, 13. I'll get my head back in the game here.
NAOV went back, tested VWAP. It's making the session high right now, looking for 1540. The pre-market.
What a monster call. We're going to give register rings all around here. Smoke tuna on the NAOV call. Samel, where are you at, Samel? You got to be absolutely ecstatic right now.
She must be doing great.
Absolutely ecstatic on that move.
It looks like it tried to halt once. It didn't take. This one might take here. Nope, still going.
Izzy with another one. RR, this is going here. We actually have resistance at RR here. 378. Where was this from? This was a trend line, wasn't it? Let me go back to the daily here real quick.
388 was the high from August 27th in RR. We are pretty close to that.
Look at the trend line, 13. We are right on that trend line. Izzy, marvelous call here. Do we have the strength to go through it?
What does the volume tell you? That's not a smart ass question. You literally got to look and see what that's doing.
I'll tell you, the volume today, especially given what it looked like on Friday, and the volume looks good. 13. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to actually go through that trend line, but so far here, volume looks good. Michelle says, "Yay! I'm finally on a ride. Let's go, Michelle."
Well, hold on.
Just be sure, Michelle, while you're on this ride, just be sure that you have some plan to take gains, whether it's higher or you don't want to give your gains back because the stock starts pulling back. Make sure you have a plan that lines up with your own risk reward here for NAOV. Don't get caught up cheerleading and then have this thing go red on you. Really good move so far. We talked about this sub 12 on a VWAP move. Looks like it tested almost 15 there.
Joby now above the pre-market high. Imagine Archer's looking similar.
Ondis starting to curl back here a little bit. Rocket curling here. That's pretty good. Tesla, tell you what, Tesla, it looked like it was going to kind of flash a breakout from that pre-market range that we looked at. Then it looked like it might recapture it. And now we're just kind of riding along it here. So Tesla here, final direction might not be chosen yet.
Good stuff, Robert. Holding both Archer and Joby.
Yeah,
if you're both having some pretty good mornings. Joby better though.
I second what Tuna is saying here. If you're taking any of the calls, please hit the like. It costs you nothing, and we've got multiple chat members calling out different plays here today, as per usual. Really great stuff from our team yet again here today. Yet again. Tesla holding in here. Apple moved a little bit lower, but that's still above 233. That's going to be one of the spots to take a look at. VIX also creeping up. We're back into a 15 handle on the VIX. I think anything sub 15 might be something to worry about for a sell-off, but we're above 15 here. SPY and VIX moving higher here together. We've talked about that recently. Lion, really quickly here. Lion saying Tesla's building some steam. What do you think here? If Tesla holds this 418 level, you think we move back higher here? Maybe towards the top end of that range at 430?
Gosh, I'm not liking the way this, well, let me see here. What time is that? Because it looks like it's really starting to roll over. But I think what I would be looking at here is if it can't recapture maybe 422, if it can't get back above that and hold above it, then I think you're going to start to see this come back in closer to 400.
Okay. Let's see which way. I mean, look, here's the thing. Like, just kind of looking at my chart here, if this holds 418 to my eye, I would say that Tesla would want to try the high end of that range. Anne Marie saying Tesla feels a bit squeezy. There you go. We did not. Jonathan's mentioning that there is a quad witch this week. I'll be honest with you. Quad witch doesn't ever affect my trading. I don't trade differently because of those expiries. But if you have any tips to share, Jonathan, please do so. That is set for this week. Friday, right? Friday?
It does set up for some good volatility, which is great for trading these. So
I just, that's just what I'm saying. I don't think I trade the expiry volatility on its own, right? If I'm trading any of those names, it's got to be something else that's going on. Tesla here breaking down. We'll see what happens here. 418. This seems to be key.
All right. Well, Rich Check Robotics right at the doorstep of that 388 high that we were looking at earlier. This is the area. This is the area we got to break out.
Lady Luck says, I'm new here. You guys are awesome. Right back at you, Lady Luck. In fact, we could use a lot of you here. We'll take Lady Luck any day that we can around here. What are you trading, Lady Luck? And welcome. Please smash up the like. It's free and it helps us. Tesla at this point now, one of the other key things, we talked about that range. One of the other key things here is going to be the VWAP. That's at 420.69. And no, I'm not kidding.
Well, I bet Elon's happy about that.
That's just when the Tesla stock price gets to meme levels, meme things happen. And so I'm going to mention that here.
Looks like Wolf still trying to push higher. 278 is the high, but volume is much lower than it was previously. Seeing a lot of volume kind of leave these names. Looks like Archers could be turning around here. That might mean Joby is going to do the same.
Tesla might be rolling over.
Yeah, so some of these names that have been on a run, probably going to get a little bit of selling here. Looks like LRE, we're got to get through this 232 level. Need more volume in this one if we're going to get back up to VWAP.
Marcelo, Jerry, it's not a lie if you believe it. That is a great one. Bonus points there. Jay saying no real earnings this week. FedEx, Lennar on Thursday. The three most important things are the retail sales tomorrow, and then the Fed on Wednesday and the Quadwitch on Friday. Don't we also have DR Horton reporting earnings this week? Or am I off on that one? It was just Lennar. Let me see. Or maybe it was Darden. Yeah, let me go check. I might be mixing this up here. It's Darden. It's DRI. I get these mixed up all the time. It's my own fault.
It's October when DR Horton reports.
Yep, it's Darden. I messed up. Alert! Ryan messed up. Darden here. This reports Thursday before the market opens. That's ticker DRI. Jay, I don't think that report's going to be extremely important for the market, but that stock likes to move on earnings, so we'll see.
Lots of stuff polling. Lots of stuff pulling here.
Market also pulling off the high. So we did set a new all-time high here today, 660.73. We pulled off that spot as soon as we set it.
Really looked at the SPY this morning to see what kind of ridiculousness it's doing. But here we are with yet another all-time high. What does the daily look like? This thing is, wow, what a blow-off top this is.
Oh, you think this is a blow-off top for the market, huh?
Then it just goes, all right, let's go higher.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jay. I mixed it up. The only reason I mentioned DR Horton is because I thought, oh, it's similar to Lennar, but I totally screwed it up. I agree with you. The FedEx and Lennar are going to be more important. No question. No question. Tesla's still staying under its VWAP for more upside at this point now. The range is one thing, but I'd really like to see it get above its VWAP here as well. 13, what do you think about these wicks above on NAOV? We're still above the VWAP, but now the successive 5-minute candles were showing some significant wicks above.
Well, that last candle had the best volume out of all the candles this morning. Got to hold VWAP.
Got to hold VWAP. Okay, there's the call. That candle now turning to a red candle here. We'll see if we test VWAP on the downside. I've got it at 1206. That's ticker NAOV. No position for me right now. Have you seen the new addition to the Guggenheim? You did that? Yeah, and it really didn't take that long either. You guys, I love it. Smiles on a Monday here, courtesy of Seinfeld. We'll take that all day long. By the way, really quickly, I actually, after the show ended, I was at school at Indiana University, and with a guy that I worked for who owned a Remax down there, he had tickets to go see Seinfeld live. He's like, I can't make it because my wife's doing something and I like staying married. Do you want these tickets? And I said, yeah, sure. Me and my buddy drove to Indianapolis to see him. He took questions at the end of his set. His set was hilarious, by the way. He took questions at the end of his set, and the first question was about the show, and he goes, you guys, you know the show's been canceled for a number of years yet. Then he had a good laugh about it and answered like 6 or 7 questions about the show. Guy's just an unbelievably good sport about everything and hilarious no matter what he does. Izzy, I scalped Tesla for some lunch money here today, so my lunch is paid for. I'm going to get some tacos from the taco place. But other than that, I don't feel great about anything here. Kind of faked out by the a little bit of divergence here. We did have the market kind of pull to the, or excuse me, trade up to the top and pull off a little bit. I don't feel great about setups. I missed the NAOV initial move. We're coming back to VWAP though. 13, you're getting your VWAP test right now. Izzy, right. I'm 1 for 1, but my day trade was real small on Tesla.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking around, seeing what is providing any kind of a setup. Not very much to look at. Lots of things really coming in. Maybe Joby and Archer might be trying to find some support, but Archer's beneath its VWAP, and Joby is it's still above it. But volume's going to be the key here, and it looks like a lot of these names are losing it.
Lady Luck says, do you talk long-term also? I'm assuming you mean, do you talk about long-term positions as well? Yes, we absolutely do. If you have a question about that, those questions are encouraged. Most of the time, when we talk about something long-term, we have a little bit of discussion on it, and then we check back in as needed. For the most part, for I would say probably 90% of the content here, we're going to be focusing on the movers and the things that are actually right in front of us. But yes, long-term investing is a key part of all of our investment strategies here. It's not just trading, and we're definitely looking for anything on that. By the way, Tesla here trading back up to its VWAP. VWAP test coming here. Let's see if Tesla can get above. So far, it's holding the bottom end of this range. Sure looks like Tesla higher might be a move here. That's TSLA.
Looks like we are getting some basing here happening in some of these movers. Looks like FRGT getting some support from the 200 EMA, looking for that to turn around and recapture at 65 EMA. IHT, that one also trying to get some of a bit of a base going here. Not don't have as strong feelings about this one as I did FRGT. This one looks like it could still go lower. LRE, this one's trying to turn around still. Been putting in a bit of a base. Let's see if we can recapture the 9 and 15 EMAs, as well as the 230 level. Glue, I don't know about this one. Looks like this could still lose a 65 EMA. HSDT been kind of back and forth between looks like 1975 and VWAP.
Tesla pulling back. It would be interesting to watch to see if it holds the VWAP there, 420.65. You folks asking about long-term stuff here. Smoke Tuna says, let's take a look at some long-term plays. Here's what I would ask for you folks. If you want 13 and I to take a look at long-term plays, we are absolutely not against that, and we would be happy to do that. But please don't just throw random tickers out and say, hey, what's the long-term thesis here, expecting us to come up with one on the spot. If you have a specific question, let the group know what you're looking at. If you have a thesis, let the group know what that thesis is. We can help each other out by talking about those things. So if you want to do that, that's great. Be sure to add context so we're not guessing about that.
Folks saying that Google's even higher now. Certainly it is. This thing is just on an absolute tear right now. That is a very bullish looking candle at the moment.
Sorry, Izzy, just to answer your question, I scalped Tesla again. We're 2 for 2 on that move through VWAP. I'll let that set up again. Here's your Google chart, 13.
Yeah, look at the daily, though. This thing is just
massive since it gapped through that, really kind of held that trend line. I think you and I talked about this trend line ad nauseum here. Google running higher. When this thing moved, we asked, who thinks that there's more room here on Google? And it looks like that's the case.
Getting pretty extended away from some of these mean averages.
Sure.
So needs to come back in. We're 14% away from the 20-day SMA. I want this to go higher, but I don't want this to be so extended that it causes a massive drop. So let's have this come back in, back test that trend line, and then we can go higher.
And as far as long term here, because I think that there's more to go in a lot of these AI connected names. Google also has a quantum chip going on there, data center angle, the whole 9 yards. So I think that that's pretty good here. What I would say about a longer term or even a swing trade here on Google, like 13 is saying, it's a little bit extended here. So I wouldn't necessarily chase this performance for a trade. Instead, I would wait for this to really kind of come back in a little bit. I don't think it's just going to run away from here. I think you'll get another opportunity on this.
Yeah, you might even get some pretty good opportunities to go along on some of these larger cap names after the FOMC rate decision.
That's true, and that could change quite a bit here, as Jay Rice was outlining. That's without a doubt the biggest thing of the week here.
Smoke Tuna is having us point out IMPP
here. IMPP. Let me go that real quick. I'm going to read this comment though, because I really like this. Marcelo here saying, idea, what are 3 to 5 probable stocks that might make a move tomorrow? Look, that is not easy to figure out. A lot of the times that we actually look at that at the end of the day, and some stocks that trade on relative volume might actually be higher. But nonetheless, I'll amplify this, because if you folks have an idea, very much like Izzy suggested, hey, we have a catalyst here for Rumble early. It happens at this time, mentioned it early. We don't know what's going to happen, but at least give us that idea here. If you folks have stocks that you think might move tomorrow for whatever reason, or even later this week, let us know. We can take a look at them, no problem. But we don't know for sure that any of that stuff's going to happen. And Marcelo, if I knew every stock that was going to move up tomorrow, I would be maxing out my account on the buy side here today.
Yeah, I mean, some things that we can do is you can look for, low float, low market capitalization names that have not gone on a run yet, or may have some kind of crypto angle attached to them, and they just haven't announced their treasury yet. There's some ways where you can scan for some of the share structures of these companies, and then just look at them individually and see which ones have got the setup, have the news that they haven't announced yet, or they have some news coming based on a previous article or filing. Just some of the ways that we can try and figure out which ones might potentially move, but they're just never a guarantee.
So this is an interesting question here. Retro is asking, do oil stocks go up on rate cuts? Thank you. Do you know off the top of your head? Like, didn't we have in December of 2024, didn't we have crude inventories dropping after the Fed's decision to lower rates? Check me on that. You know what else we can do? Let's maybe put Benzinga AI through a test here. We'll do it live. I don't know what the answer is here, but let's go ahead and do this. Let's just try this. Benzinga, we have a large language model built into Benzinga. Anyone that's a subscriber has access to this. The way that this is different from other LLMs is that the persona's already been set here for investment purposes. So you should probably get better tailored answer to that. But let's actually just try this together here. Do oil stocks?
Yes.
Okay, you got the right answer. Good. Then we'll bench this. Do oil stocks go up on rate cuts?
Demand, dollar weakening. Yes.
Okay, so there you go. Let's see what the AI tool tells us here.
All right. While you're looking at that, looks like LRE is finally starting to get going here. Need to see more volume expansion, but it is recovering some of the levels that it lost earlier this morning. Still needs to get up to VWAP though.
And Lady Luck, I'll get to your Tesla here in a sec. Do oil stocks? Okay, let's see. Okay, over the past 2 years, XOM and CVX have slightly declined, but while the broader market surged year to date in 2025, both proposed modest gains.
Rate cuts right there. There it is. Your answer.
Rate cuts. Historically, lower rates boost economic activity and energy demand, which can benefit oil stocks. This is literally exactly what you said, 13. So here you go. So takeaway, oil stocks don't always immediately rally after rate cuts. The effect depends on broader economic momentum, oil prices, and investor sentiment. In the current environment, September of 2025, with rate cuts likely and the energy sector valuations still below historical averages, there's a reasonable case for a moderate upside in XOM and CVX if economic growth stabilizes or rebounds. So this is actually pretty awesome. I asked it a fairly general question. We got a pretty decent takeaway and some ideas to look into further. Not a bad little experiment here. Thank you for the question, Retro. Yep. That was cool to kind of just do in real time here.
And it looks like Joby is starting to get a little bit more of a lift here. Archer not doing so much the same. Joby looks like it wants to try and get over the 1488 high. Need to see better volume than this, though. We do have LRE trying to stay above those smaller EMAs, the 9 and 15. Again, more volume we need to see in this one. We are 14 minutes away from that 10:30 time where volume really does lead the market. So it'd be ideal to see that move happen before we get there.
Okay, and real quickly, let me just go back. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to go to, I think I'm going to have to go to my other chart here real quick. Smoke Tuna, VIRC, IMPP, and BAN-X and GAB. Oh no, what happened? Oh, it's loading here. We just took a look at IMPP. Didn't see a whole lot moving there, but I can check it again. That other list of stocks there, I will check it. Let me just see what's going on with this chart here real quick.
Looks like LRB just pulled down to the 65 EMA.
All right, so Lady Luck, you were asking earlier about Tesla here. Let me go back and get the question. I want Tesla long, but it's overextended. She always pulls back patience. So indeed, one of the things that we had been doing here on Tesla, as you can see recently, we've been identifying where some of these spots are going to be, and then also what moving averages the stock might find some support at. Most recently, we had this 350 to 360 targeted as an area, and the next area above we had right up here, right in this. I think this goes all the way up to 445-ish. So to my eye here, waiting for a pullback, I would almost think if you're going to wait for a pullback, maybe 375 on a possible long term there. Would have to hold that if it starts moving back, though. No guarantee that's going to happen. Tesla actually intraday here looks like this might try to go higher towards that 430 area. NAOV getting multiple mentions in the chat. This did pull back to VWAP. Good stuff, NAOV. I'm a little late on this. I'm not sure I want to chase this higher here. I've got that VWAP at 1208, right? Yeah, 1208.
I think Tesla still needs to come back in. It's pretty extended on its daily chart. Doesn't mean I couldn't go higher, sure, but I don't know how much higher it's going to go. I think maybe 440 would kind of be where I would kind of peg the topping out at if it doesn't happen here with this candle.
Chewy calls. We talked about Chewy a little bit earlier. Marcus, this was a monster mention early on. Chewy taking the next leg higher here. 3650, your resistance area. I am seeing some Chewy call flow. Also seeing option call flow, both the 8s and the 850s. Oh, those might be closing orders, though. Those were short-term orders that expired this week on open.
Smoke Tuna saying NAOV is going to 16.
I'll tell you what, that NAOV move right through the VWAP there, that's strong.
Yeah, a little bit of a trend line here, too.
I was just thinking the same thing. Oh, 13, that's beautiful.
Looks like it's going to go into a halt, an upside halt.
Here's what you got in NAOV.
And there's the halt.
Halted 1328 NAOV. That's official.
Yep. All right, so what's going to get hit next now that that's halted? Let's take a look. Looks like Open Door is starting to get a little bit of attention.
Looks like Tesla rolled over from that area. You said it felt a little heavy at 13. Again, I still want to see if that holds 418, if it moves down.
I feel like it needs to kind of come back into 400. Personally.
LVLU halted to the upside. That also came off Benzinga AI when we discussed it, didn't it?
This is the one I was telling you about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying because we did a nice little experiment here this morning, but we actually have more data showing us that the list of stocks that were procured for us were quite good.
Yep. Those parameters we were looking at, and really the consumer discretionary sector is the most hammered of all the sectors year to date, and that is what LVLU is in, this consumer discretionary. And I think that the consumer discretionary could end up doing pretty well with rate cuts. Could spur more buying. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. Looks like Archer's still coming back, trying to come back anyway. Rich Tech Robotics looks like that's trying to turn around and has to recapture VWAP, but looks like it's trying to turn around. LDI, that is also trying to recapture its VWAP. It had a reversal candle at 432. We're trading up to 456 right now.
Could you give us the language you use to isolate those trades with the large language model in Benzinga Pro? I would have to turn that over to 13. I don't know if you took notes on that because I don't. So really quickly regarding the Benzinga AI, one of the things that I've suggested to the team is to maintain some history so that we can pull that for the exact question that Anne-Marie is asking here. If we uncover some good information, I want to be able to pull the exact answer again by saving that history. Not there yet, but I understand that it's coming. 13, maybe you took notes on that? I don't know.
Well, the only prompt that I asked it was, what.
Didn't you text me that? Let me see.
Yeah, you can just copy that.
Yeah,
that's really the only prompt I did.
Here it is. Anne-Marie, here was the prompt that 13 used for that list that LVLU came off of. I'm going to throw it here in the chat. This is verbatim what he had me enter. I'll read it here so you know what I'm talking about. Which U.S. stocks with less than $50 million market cap in the consumer discretionary sector are down at least 10% year to date? That was the prompt, and it gave us a really good answer that had a number of stocks on it, one of which here was LVLU.
And frankly, I don't even think that's necessarily a great prompt. It's just I was looking for a way to narrow down a number of stocks in a particular sector that had a small market capitalization, and just so I could get an idea. And that gave me a list that I could start to pick and choose. Remember, there's a good number of those stocks, and I ended up with like maybe 8 to 10 of them, so that I liked. So it really was just more to narrow things down, not so much to pinpoint which ones are going to absolutely be running.
And then real quick here, he said, get me that list now, bot. Webcoin. Oh, Webcoin. Ondas looks dumpy. Ondas did pull back here. Ondas is down 3.6%. We've seen this. We've seen dips get bought in Ondas pretty much for the last couple of months. I'm entirely unconcerned by a single digit move down after the big move that it's had up. That's okay, though. Here, YouTube poll up. Producer, this is a great poll. Very simple. Have you ever used AI for investing or trading? Yes or no? I gotta say, on a technicality, I was gonna say on a technicality here, I think everyone has to answer yes, right? We've got Smoke Tuna AI, and Tuna's in here every day delivering calls from that. We just used the Benzinga AI in real time. We had a stock list procured by 13 off camera using Benzinga AI that some of you folks are trading. I gotta think that answer for our show here is at least heavily skewed yes.
Yeah, we dabble.
Samel, is it a good time to get into Ondas? The way I see it, no. I think you probably want more of a pullback. Otherwise, you're still kind of chasing here. As a reminder, my entry, my big position, and my cost basis is at 87 cents. Very hard for me to recommend someone else buy something that I own when I'm up several 100%. I just can't do it. I would like to see a pullback here closer to 595 for Ondas, frankly, maybe a little bit more towards that 475 and a hold there, but that's being very, very picky. I'm still long and strong, and I'm looking to trim much higher than this.
NAOV coming up to that trend line that we drew. It's open now.
No one is surprised that the trend lines that we identified are getting tested, least of all 13.
Yeah, that's one thing AI can't really do that well yet, is draw pretty good trend lines.
That's why we have 13 here. Smash up the like for our boy 13. He's better than AI.
At drawing.
No, I think everything.
Okay, fine.
Pressure's on, baby. Real quick, NAOV did peak above the trend line there. We'll see if it goes. I refuse to chase this, and I've made lunch money on Tesla. I'm 2 for 2 today, but it's lunch money. It's not a whole lot. I refuse to give it all back trying to chase something here. I'm going to try and be a little bit more tactical. Yeah. Market is kind of showing some weakness here. I know we pushed up to the highs. We've come off those, and several of these other names showing some more weakness. Apple's still holding higher here by 0.75%, but even that's pulled off its high.
Yep. So that trend line kind of providing a little bit of resistance at the moment, but
no doubt.
If volume can continue to expand, we're going to push through it. 1540 pre-market high.
Mark says, I've got AI to draw trend lines. How good is it? My money's still on 13's trend line. Raffle's saying 13 AI. That's the new. You know what you should do? You should PR that. You should just get a ticker, PR it, run it, retire.
And then there's NAOV with the break above the trend line, 1559, also the new high as well. I don't know how much this goes on from here. We're getting to the point where, let's see, how much higher do we got to go? We got to go to like $17 before we enter that gap filler territory in NAOV. That gap's going to be back from May.
Shady says, I should know this by now, but is Anne-Marie's segment on the same day every week, or is it random? So Shady, couple of things here. You're off the hook. Anne-Marie's segment is every Tuesday and Friday between 11 and 11:30. Now, that is subject to Anne-Marie's schedule. She's very, very busy. So a couple of days we've had to not have that segment. So last Friday we did not have it. Anne-Marie, now that you're here, I think you can confirm this, but we're a go both for Tuesday and Friday this week. Is that correct? S&P mentioning that this is spiked here. Indeed, S&P futures and SPY up to the highs here now.
Smoke tonight, you're saying the NAOV crazy level is 21. Let me look at NAOV. I want to see what that area looks like.
Yes, sir. Okay, there you go. So here you go. Shady, you've got it live here. Anne-Marie is confirmed for Tuesday at 11 o'clock this week. That's tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And then also again at Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We are a go.
So Smoke Tony, you're talking about NAOV having a potential move up to the March, April lows, somewhere in between those two is what you're saying? I could even see this, going up higher. I could see in a really weird, crazy circumstance that this makes a run for the 200 EMA. Probably not going to happen, but I'm not going to say that it won't, because we've seen these really low float names just go absolutely crazy, and this has less than 1 million in its float. So wouldn't put it past you. Just don't know if we're going to get there.
Good stuff, group. Tesla breaking down here. NAOV coming back into the trend line.
Yeah, I think Tesla's going to have a date with 400. I think it would be good for Tesla to fill that gap at least. Okay, so
NAOV, the look of this intraday chart here doesn't look great. Now we're actually beneath that trend line, and this candle in this 5-minute window is showing, I believe, one of those shooting star candles that 13 talks about. Big wick up to 16.
Well, we got to close this candle first. We got a minute 24
That's
left.
true. No, well said. Well said. I'm
But
getting
yeah,
ahead of myself.
at the moment, it did look like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just waiting for some signs of life from some of these other names. TQQQ still, it was selling off for the past half hour, but now it's trying to make its way back up to the 98.68 high it put in this morning.
Rothel here talking about CNM as having a gap to fill here. Let's zoom out and take a look at this. Let's get a 15-minute chart and see what we see.
Pretty large gap. What's
holy gap, Batman? You're not kidding.
For the drop.
Yeah, 66.5. So what was this earnings? Where you could see we're actually down here in a sideways area. Oh, I also wanted to get to Lulu. Someone asked about Lulu. That might have been Lady Luck again. Let me get to that because we actually have a thesis that we're in a holding pattern on Lulu. Did you figure out what the news was on this, 13?
Yes, it was earnings. It looks like they narrowed their guidance.
Okay.
So, and we've been saying for some time now at this stage, if your earnings aren't blow out of the water, melt your face off earnings that are, beyond the estimates, this thing is going to likely come back in. So you might be right that there's something here. I mean, this thing looks like it really just came down on just that news. There must be something else here, maybe in the PR that was also mentioned. But that's all I can see is that they just narrowed their guidance and it was lower than the estimates.
Yeah, one thing to take a look at here, while this could bounce from this area here, I see it on the chart, there's actually a slightly bigger support area down here at 45. So one of the things that you might be staring at here is a little bit of a dead cat bounce and then a rollover to test that 45 area. I'd say stay nimble with this one, but that's interesting. I know why you're trying to attack that gap.
Yeah, it's been a really nice run since 2023.
Tom, in fact, I did say Batman. I didn't watch the old one this week. That's just serendipitous, but that maybe we're on to something here. Oh, and then here, so for Lulu, let me do that here real quick.
Yep.
Do you have anything that's currently moving that needs to be mentioned right away?
I'm keeping an eye on check to see if that goes higher. And then I'm also watching LRE to see if it holds a 65 EMA or not.
All right, perfect. So we've got our wingman out here taking care of it. So here's what we're looking at on Lulu. All right. We had talked about this yesterday because Lulu's move down here, this 160 to 165 area represents an extremely significant level that goes all the way back to September of 2018. Now, looking at the line here today, yeah, it kind of does look like we're holding this, but I'd be careful on this one. If you want to trade this one, keep it on your watch list, maybe check it every day, but let me show you why I want to be careful. This is what Lulu did. So here's the earnings report, and it has done nothing but drift lower. And in fact, after this first day here, the couple of bounce attempts that it's had have not been able to clear 170 and have not been able to turn the trend around here. So on Friday, we actually lost the lows here on Friday. It looks like we're trying to get back today, but I would make Lulu prove it to you first before trying this personally. Keep an eye, though, because again, we are at a pretty key level here. One more thing to show you here. Oh, I might not be logged in. I might have to just, give me 1 sec here and I'll log back into this. Let me go back to the main, hand this back to 13. I got one more thing to show you here on Lulu.
Looks like NAOV is still trying to stay above this trend line, but it's creating a series of upper shadows. That might be a little concerning here. If we cannot close above the trend line, I think it may be telling us it's getting ready to reverse.
I'm still getting this ready. I didn't forget about you. Sit tight there.
Open door trying to move back higher up into the 10 handle. Smokton is saying that C4 is on a slow grind.
Okay. Yeah. Here's one more thing to consider for Lulu. Let me get the chart set up here for you. Okay. Here's the other thing that we're waiting out on Lulu. I just told you about the levels. Here's the other thing that we're looking at. Lulu has an insanely positive seasonality effect that starts on October 10th. October 10th, October 11th, you want to do plus or minus 1 week, that's fine. But from October 10th through about December, let's call it December 10th. Okay, so for a 2-month period, the seasonality here on Lulu is extremely strong. All right, we actually take a look at some of the stats here. 80% profitable. There was only 1 year where this really kind of pulled it back, and your average gain, if you're correct, is about 19%. Right, so we have some extremely good seasonality for Lulu coming up here in just about a month. So when we talk about Lulu here and you talk about, well, are these calls good? Well, I mean, we never know for sure, right? But here's the thing. If this can stay anywhere around this 160 to 165 area going in to the beginning and the middle of October there, I actually think this makes a pretty decent long side swing for Lululemon going into the holiday season. I don't know if it's going to do that. There's no reason for me to front run this trade. If Lulu wants to carve out a lower level here, giddy up, let it do that. My thought on trading this is to wait until the seasonality is one of our tailwinds, as opposed to this maybe just wanting to trade sideways here for a little bit. So I have no position here on Lulu. I am looking for a long, but I'm not in a rush to do that based on what we just talked about.
You want to draw a parallel channel for Lulu?
Sure. Let me go back to the actual chart itself. Let me go to we're on the daily, right?
Daily, weekly. Weekly might be better.
Okay. Let's go to the weekly. Oh man, my sorry 13. My chart is it's actually not the chart itself. It's actually I'm just lagging a little bit here because I've done so much. All right, what do we got?
See that trend line that you drew?
Sure do.
Do a parallel channel based off that, and take it down to the make the bottom of the parallel channel for the yen carry trade, August 5th, 2024.
So like this?
Yeah, that might be the indication where the price bottoms out at. You see how close we are to the bottom of that channel?
Sure do. There you go.
That's I'm not. There's no guarantee that that's going to be the spot, but this is kind of what I'd be using to, if I think there's a trade here, this is where I think we could see some bottoming happen. RSI is very low. I have to think that this is going to be turning around at some point, but I don't think I'd be surprised if we went, and tested that at the bottom of the channel first. Maybe got a little bit close to it. Just something to watch for here. But I think that we're not going to be down here for too much longer.
This is great because this actually gives us another level to trade that against while we wait out our favorable seasonality. Yeah. So I'm good with all of that. 13, really good stuff there.
Looks like CHEK is finally getting some life breathe.
Can we get back above the VWAP? CHEK. This is actually a decent setup. Maybe we can pull a NAOV if we move through this VWAP.
And glue sideways, HSDT still sideways. Looks like Wolf is trying to get back above 265. Not a whole lot of stuff really moving here.
No, and Smoke Tuna saying that check is trying to turn here. This is one we just talked about. What do you think? What do you need to see here, Tuna? Do you need to see that volume increase? Looks like it's trying to flash that right now. What do you need to see to feel good about check turning here? I've got VWAP 287, right? 285?
I got it at 301.
Okay.
I think we need to see this get back above 290.
Okay.
That seems to be the big resistance area ahead of the VWAP. Look at the pre-market, see how we were kind of getting support in that area. Yep. As a matter of fact, that was the resistance area earlier in the morning. We broke through that as resistance, back tested it as support just before the open, and then we lost it. So I think that not at 290 is going to be the spot to get over here.
Okay. And we would definitely want to see some more buying volume really kind of take us up to that level. I've got that 3 cents higher than the VWAP 13. To me, that's just as good. NAOV going for 18. So it looks like we're kind of off check for right now. That's setting up. Maybe don't take your eye off it. NAOV, anyone in this one? This has been a really good day trade here. I missed this one, unfortunately, but good stuff. Nathan, registering for our guy Nathan here. Great job.
I'm being asked to take a look at REKR, Rec Core Systems. This looks like they are in AI software. What are we looking at here? Let me look at the chart a little bit more closely.
What was the ticker? R what? REKR. Got it on the list here. I see it now.
So this just recaptured its 200-day SMA for the first time since July. Looks like there's going to be some resistance at 150. That was previously a support level.
Okay.
You have the 500-day SMA at 174. I don't know what's going to drive this thing higher. What do their financials look like? I guess we could take a look at. It looks like they're going to have to raise capital. I don't know what in their last earnings were. They just had earnings last month, so that should be an accurate representation of what their cash position is. And okay. if they lose that amount of money every quarter, I think they're going to have to do a capital raise at some point. So there might be an offering happening here soon.
Okay.
This one. So just keep that in mind, because you'd have to, unless you know more about this company than I do, find out where they are, where they're getting their money from, because they're losing it right now. Looks like they have some revenue, but not enough to be profitable. So it seems like a capital raise could happen here with this one.
Okay, REKR, good stuff there. Michelle mentioning Chewy. Take a look at that. Did that do anything here? Oh man, this has been strong all day. Marcus, this was such a good mention earlier. Really good stuff. Should have just followed you into that one. Really good stuff. Marcus, I think the other thing that I like here, he had a very, very short list. You actually had a short list here of the stocks that you were looking at. One of them, you were able to execute that. This was really good stuff on Chewy. Glad you brought this one up.
All right, Smoke Tuna, I think you said that you were looking for NAOV to go to 18 or something like that. It looks to me like you might be able to get this to go to 1920 before you run into some real big resistance. If it gets through that, then 2240 would be the next area of resistance. So those would be the two to the upside if we can get past this. We were just past it a moment ago. I think that's going to be the next area of resistance. We just need to see more upside. Go ahead.
It's okay. Marcus, I agree with you. This does kind of feel like it's losing some steam, just kind of looking at these candles. I'll tell you what, this second leg up was not as strong as that first leg up, and it does look like we're starting to get some wicks on the top there. So that it does look like this is slowing down. B-Man will take this close to day's end for me. Just a shout out to say thank you for being such a helpful group. You guys give me hope. That's what we want to do. I love stuff like that. Absolutely. And again, the other key takeaway there, it's the entire group. It's not just an individual. It's our entire group. It's why we have the rules that we have around here and why we're sticklers about some of those. We're trying to create a helpful group that everyone can benefit from.
He said 21 on an NAOV. I must have missed that because the last comment I saw him say was NAOV going for 18. So it must have been much earlier that he said that.
Check. So it looks like that pull from the VWAP getting bought back up. VWAP still the key area here on CHEK. NAOV is what you were talking about. Let me put that on screen here.
Well, I was just responding to what Bob Hadar was saying. I didn't see where Smoketon had said 21, just where he said 18. Got
it. Well, I'll tell you what, maybe we back test the trend line here and go. We'll see.
That'd be cool. All right, CHEK. Still, MACD is looking like this is starting to curl back up. We're making a move towards VWAP.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. Let's see a 3 print. That'd be cool. I can dig it.
You can dig it. All right. So Smoke Tuna here. Remember, we recently added the MACD. What are you seeing here? Do you want? It looks like the blue line is about to cross the orange line here, and we have the histogram about to flip green from the red side.
Yeah. What I want to see is some more volume.
That's something that we've been waiting here.
NAOV is halted to the downside, coming back to back test that trend line. Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Bob. Looks like some of these other names are also trying to get going here, but volume's not looking the greatest right now. And we have seen a lot of these come back later in the afternoon, so maybe we just need to be patient with some of them, and wait for them to set up better in the afternoon. The afternoon does tend to be better. Sorry.
And on that note for volume, no, don't be sorry. I was trying to piggyback off you. On that note for volume here, like I'm looking at this check. This actually does look like a decent setup, but you know what? I'm not going to front run this trade because maybe we get right back up to the VWAP and we pull again. And now I'm going to be kind of trapped up there. I'd actually rather see this maybe kind of set up again, maybe get that volume first. I'd feel a little bit better about scalping it then.
Well, we are at 10:43. We're beyond the time where traders start to leave their desks and begin to go to lunch. Volume's not going to be as robust as it usually is in the very opening prints of the market. So just give us some patience, some time. Let the traders come back to their desks. Usually in the afternoon we start to see these things pick back up. So we'll certainly see some better trades in the afternoon, but couldn't tell you which ones are going to go and which ones aren't. Just have to keep an eye on the ones that were movers this morning. It looks like CHEK has a couple of sellers in the way around 283 and 285. FRGT still curling up, just very slowly. Big seller in the way at 169. Wolf with a nice move there, looking to take out some of the session highs if it can continue upwards. Jonathan Cooper is mentioning NAKA. It looks interesting. I'll look at that in a second. Now, what's got you interested with NAKA? Because this has been kind of sideways for a good portion of the morning. It looks like it's starting to curl a little bit. Still seems like the resistance is around 130 to 135. I think you might be onto something with there being a potential setup, but if we don't have the volume, we're not going to get that resolution. I mean, the best upside that I can see for this at the moment would be like 150, and I don't even know if we're going to have the volume to get up to there. Volume's going to be the key here.
This volume doesn't look great to me.
But maybe in the afternoon, NAKA comes back. We'll see.
Okay, real quick here, Lady Luck, how long do you guys hang out? Our show runs from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. every single day. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have a show right after this that I host with Anne-Marie Band, who gives away option trades. That's from 11 to 11:30 on Tuesday and Friday. So we will be here till 11 a.m. Eastern every day. CHEK, okay, maybe this changes here. We're seeing this get bought back up to the VWAP. VWAP test coming right here. If you played that early curl, I think this is definitely one of the spots to close some of that. We'll see if we get a pop and a move through here. 285, 287, that VWAP area.
Hey, not a bad mention here with the AIIO. This is a company that's moving on some news about them entering a joint venture to establish a robo.ai industrial city in Dubai.
This thing looks like a pretty good ramp already here. Another AI name.
Yeah, let's look at this chart and see what we can get from it here. Okay, this does look pretty interesting. I would say somewhere between 280 and 3. That's going to be your near-term resistance. But if we can get above that and get over I said at CHK is where we're going now. Yep.
I was just going to say, it actually looked like it might try and halt at that 295, but they pulled it off that spot here. At this point now, back test of the VWAP would be great. The back test here and hold. Let's just make sure it doesn't yank from this nice little spot. We still wanted to see some more volume than this, but the volume did tick up a little bit.
Yeah, so I think that 275 area, the 500-day SMA, and then $4 is going to be the next big resistance areas for AIIO. Thank you for bringing this up. This looks interesting. Might get some better trades out of this one in the future. Looks like LRE is starting to turn around here. That might be coming.
I never tried to buy this on Schwab. I know somebody with Fidelity said that they couldn't buy this, so that might be a problem there. By the way, pull on CHEK here. Pulled back to the VWAP. Let's see if we hold here.
NAOV is open. Now back testing the trend line. It just dipped beneath it, still above VWAP. If it can't hold the trend line here in reverse, then I think we're coming in.
All right. this check back down at its VWAP. This kind of feels heavy to me. Now that I've said that, hopefully it'll go for those of you that are long.
Just remember, we are in that time where volume's not great.
That's right.
This certainly could go, but if being that we are in the time that we are right now, might be a good idea to sell into the strength.
Well, this is exactly why I said there. At least if you took the curl on this when we started talking about it, there should be a trim there at VWAP. That's just prudent trading.
All right. What else is looking decent? I mean, NAOV, we're getting that support from the trend line. Hopefully it holds up. If it does, that's looking like we might have a date with 18. That's if it holds that trend line. Yep, trim, set stops, raise them up. Right. We'll think about Ionic and Li Auto. So Ionic, we've been on the quantum theme for a while. Ionic coming back, that's great to see. Oh wow, Ryan,
check,
it did it.
Pull.
Ryan, look at what Ionic did.
Okay,
hopefully, okay.
Before I go to it, check. This was the nasty pull that we were telling you about. This now halted to the downside at 268. This is why I was saying that. I really hope that you folks that took that trimmed it at VWAP. Here's your IONQ.
Go to your daily. Hopefully you've got the trend line still. Oh, you don't. It went right to the trend line that we drew from 2021 through the high of 2025. Matter of fact, I may have sent you a screenshot.
You may have, and you know what? I actually may have plopped that on a different chart here.
Yep, I did send it to you. I sent it to you last week. Actually Friday, I sent it to you.
Yeah, and I tried to eyeball a different one here. That wasn't it. Let me see if I can grab that here for you.
The price went right to the trend line, right to it.
Yeah, so this was, and I don't have that. Man, what a bummer that I don't have that. Oh yeah, I do. Oh, dude, check this out.
Did they finally fix it?
No, well, see, it was just in a different chart. This is what I was saying. This is the trend line that you were talking about. Guaranteed. Look at that. Right to it. In fact, you know what, 13, now that we identified that one, I'm getting rid of this one too. Look at that. Look at that move on IONQ. This was so awesome. In fact, you know what I'm going to do now? Let me save this. Save. Boop. Overwrite. Boop. There we go. Now, if that gets cleared away, I should actually be able to recall it. Going back to the main workspace here. Good stuff on IONQ.
Yeah, thanks for that call out.
Yeah.
Wolf with an O. That looks like it wants to try and take out the session high of 278. We're on the doorstep of it. NAOV,
all right, and
NAOV, here we go. We got that back test of the trend line. We're trying to push up higher.
Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry, I've been jostling too much here. I tell you what, I've missed NAOV twice now off good calls from the chat. That's just part of it. Still actually doing well for a Monday morning here, especially despite the Ondas pullback. But this was really good calls here by the chat. Trade of the day, indeed, Whisk. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Also, poll results are in. Have you ever used AI tools for investing or trading? 54% of you said no, and 45% of you said yes. As outlined here, I got a bone to pick with those results. I think everyone on this program should have said yes.
Let's keep those results in mind, and then
got it.
In 6 months, 12 months, we'll ask it again and see how much it's changed.
You know what? Oh, dude, and I'm going to save this item.
And there's Wolf with the new high. Sorry.
I'm also going to mention that producer Michael, should save this one so we can compare it. Oh, that is such a good idea. 13. Okay, notes done. We are kicking butt today. We're kicking butt today.
All right. And hey, yes, Wes, absolutely. Wolf, that was great. Tesla trying one more time to go past 120. 420. If you're 10 keying, I can understand how you would hit the one instead of the four.
Here. I can bring Tesla up and we can do a graphic representation of what we're talking about here. Here's your Tesla. You're right at VWAP. Right at VWAP on Tesla. Do we break? Do we go higher? You tell me.
You're looking at VWAP on what time frame?
I've got the, you know what? I have the 1 minute chart here, but my and it's actually a little bit different. So my VWAP on my 5 minute is 420.09 and my VWAP on the 1 minute is 420.50.
If there's more upside, I have a hard time thinking we're going to go much higher than 425.
Okay. I've got 430 as the cap to that upside. So we're pretty close for a $400 stock.
Yeah, we can be off by a few cents if we're talking $400 stock. Wow, Wolf. This thing hasn't halted yet, but it looks like it should have. What a nice move in Wolf. Hey, no problem, Dip Buyer. Appreciate you coming by.
Thanks again for the green morning. You're more than welcome. Thanks for your support. Smash that like button on the way out. Any stocks you guys getting into before rates? I have no new stocks for rates. Someone asked me if I had another long-term stock after the success with Ondas. I actually do. It's another small cap. It's very risky. It's very thinly traded, and I can't tell you when it's going to go. But for any of you that are interested, again, high risk here. This is not a trade. This is a long-term. We talked about this one before. This is IPWR. This is Ideal Power. They make a product called the B-Tran converter. And if this is something that's interesting to you, check out the B-Tran converter. Full disclosure here, I actually think they have partnerships lined up that they have not yet announced, which is one of the reasons the stock is so depressed here. If we enter a rate cutting cycle, that should be good for small caps. It actually should benefit this stock. But please just know the risk here. On average, the stock trades 71,000 shares a day. Today, it's traded less than 10,000 shares. Be careful. Be careful. I'm in this for the long term. My average is $7. The stock is $5. So I'm actually underwater on this by $2, but that's okay. So just be careful. Some of you asked last week. We can talk about this a little bit more. I can try and get the CEO on too. But this is one that I've been sitting on for a little bit, and I still think there's more of a runway before this ends up working.
I really want to believe that this triple bottom that we got
too
this year is meaningfully going to be the bottom that takes us higher.
Okay, here's what I can tell you about this. I can't tell you if this is going to be the bottom, but I do happen to know somebody that is willing to clean up any sellers at the 52-week lows. That price is $384. You take that for what it's worth. I don't know how many shares he's willing to bid down there. I don't know if it's still out there. But my guess is that we do not break beneath that. We'll see. As mentioned several times here, high risk.
Looks like some of these names are trying to push back up. We already talked about Wolf. That's over 287 now. That looked pretty good. I don't know how much higher it goes. Rich Check Robotics. That's been on the recovery. Volume's not as great, but it's been recovering. The high of the session is 385. I don't know that we're going to get back up to that or not, but that's been on a little bit of a recovery. So don't know how much more is left in that one. What else do we have here? Looks like LVLU is trying to put in a new session high. It just did. This super junky low float name that I found with the Benzinga AI scanner, doing pretty well.
Amazon having a decent day today. Tesla, I still think we've got that one figured out. I still think the high resistance area today is 430, and I don't know that there's a guarantee we get back there.
Oklo is going, says tennis is life.
Okay, let me bring it up. Thank you, tennis.
Oh, look at that.
It sure is. Did this get another upgrade or something this morning? It's got that recently. No, it hasn't. This is a good move here. Plus 8.3%. Oklo.
It's
got a trend line coming.
So it's an electric utility company. So those are going to be affected by rates. Every utility will be. So that could be one of the reasons it's going up. If there's no news, this might be, front running rate cuts.
Look at the trend line that we have going all the way back to February of this year. We've banged against this once before. We're doing it again. So
fantastic. Did Check Robotics always have options?
No, not always. I don't know when the chain came, but it hasn't always.
Yeah, you'll have to. Folks that trade that will have to be able to.
I've traded Rich Tech, but never traded the options. So, Kev, take care of yourself. Thanks as always. Really appreciate all of your support. Be sure to smash that like button up on the way out, and we will see you again tomorrow. We are less than a minute here, 13. So maybe we should start saying our temporary goodbyes.
Yes, but don't worry, folks, because we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back here tomorrow. We'll find some more of these numbers. We'll have a great time. We'll talk more about the rate cuts and potential names to be affected by them. We'll even see if Tesla managed to hold above 420 or not. So we'll have all kinds of things to look at and discuss tomorrow. Great morning with you folks, as always. Looking forward to doing it again tomorrow. Everybody's take care. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Yeah, 13, really good stuff as always here today. We look forward to doing this again tomorrow. And of course, for those of you that are Benzinga Pro members, be sure to check out the happy hour chat, which 13 moderates all day long, as well as joining our happy hour later in the show. You do need to be a paying Benzinga subscriber to have access to that. Folks, Trader Bacon is next. I'm going to send you over there. You don't need to go anywhere. Really good stuff here from our group. Get some rest. Enjoy the double slate of NFL Monday Night Football tonight. And see you tomorrow morning. We're going to do this again. Stay green.